I choose the single digits.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, October 24th, 2019. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1184.
This is No Agenda.
Pre-celebrating 12 years and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33, the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're also pre-celebrating a Nationals championship. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
What are we pre-celebrating?
The Nats.
The who?
Washington Nats.
The Nats.
N-A-T-S is a very good baseball team. The Nats.
The Nats.
And they buzz around and they...
The Nats don't make noise. No, gnats don't make any noise. They make that noise when you fry them. That's the noise they make. Well, no. Go Astros. What are you talking about? Go Astros. Did I not have... I mean, I had a huge problem the other day. Tuesday. I didn't know what...
Bet on sports?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know what to watch. I didn't know whether to watch NBA or baseball. It was very confusing. It was too much sports for me.
NBA is pro-China.
Yeah, wow. Mo texted me, dude, turn on the TV. Look at the Hong Kong flag in the background. Did you see that?
No, I didn't watch basketball.
Oh, you watched the Nats?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I thought you were all into basketball.
This bugs me to no end.
What?
The beginning of one season overlaps and tries to step on the glory of another sport, and they do this, and all the sports do this.
Told you.
They should all screw themselves. And if you're in college, they're all separate, and that's why you get these superstar athletes that can play all three sports. And so they can play, and then the next this one sport ends because of the weather, and the next sport starts. But no, these guys are pros. Let's ruin they're finally getting to the end of the season. They're having their playoffs. Let's step on it. No, I'm not going to watch any games whatsoever until the World Series is over. I'm a traditionalist.
Okay, I got you. Sorry you're so upset. Don't understand exactly why. But
the worst part is the football steps all over both of them.
Yes.
Although I think maybe basketball is the worst offender. And then they're pro-China. They hate the country. I mean, come on.
Did you see that the CEO of Nike stepped down? Rather abruptly, I would say.
Because probably the real CEO of Nike is Phil Knight.
They brought in John Donahue.
Yeah,
he's a heavyweight.
Well, see what happens.
Wasn't he with PayPal? I remember his name.
Moving on. No, I don't think so. Moving all operations to Vietnam.
Who knows? I just thought that was interesting.
You can't lose that Chinese shoe market. That's the big one. Heaven forbid you don't want to lose that big Chinese shoe market.
Tom Collins over there at Apple, or Tim Cook, I guess, as he's known, is now the new chairman of the advisory board of the School of Economics and Management of Tsinghua University in Beijing. These guys, they just don't care, do they?
No.
They do not care.
They hate the country.
They love
all
China.
All they love is money.
It's really unbelievable. It's like, of all the times to announce, maybe not this week.
Yeah, really.
Tim, maybe not this week. Oh no. Yes, the swoop is here. I think the past week has been phenomenal for the Hillary watchers that we are.
Yeah, it's been creeping up, yeah.
Oh, no. They did a trial balloon, and I think Fox was complicit in the test of that.
Well, Fox wants her to run for sure. There's no ratings with these other people.
And for sure they want ratings. But here's what happened last night. And I've noticed this the past week and a half. The guests that are on Tucker Carlson tonight are dynamite. I don't know if they have a new booker. I don't know. I don't know what's happened, but there's levels of bookers. They may have just turned on the spigot. Well, they did something right, and they brought on Philip Rines, who was he's a Clinton insider. He used to be he was advisor to Clinton in the past election. In fact, he even did the mock debates with her. So he comes on, and well, just listen to the opening of the segment.
She ran for president because she thought she would be the best president. If she still thought that now, if she thought she had the best odds of beating Donald Trump, I think she would think about it long and hard. I know.
So she's not, she hasn't foreclosed the possibility. I guess
no, she has not.
That's what I'm saying, Sue.
Well, look, this is a huge if. But if she were to jump in for whatever reason and the party has moved someplace that she hasn't, then she won't get the votes. That's the point of the primary. There are, I guess, still 19 people. There are a few that are in double digits. If she were to run and people think that she's too left, too right, too center, whatever you want to call it, that's the beauty of it. They get to vote against whoever they want. I don't know. She's not running because she has any anxiety about the Democratic field. She really likes a lot of the people running. She knows them well. She thought about some of them for her vice presidency. But there might be a reason that she'd be the best person, not only to beat Donald Trump, but to govern after Donald Trump, which is a part we don't talk about much. And look, you can make fun of it all you want, but 65 million people voted for her. And that's second more to anyone except Barack Obama.
I'm not making fun of her.
Now, the trial balloon was let up in the New York Times, the way I see it, on, 2 days ago. And the title of the piece was, Anxious Democrat Establishment Asks, Is There Anybody Else? Oh, yeah.
You know, I missed that one. That's funny.
But
that is totally right into strike zone.
It gets better. It starts off, when a half dozen Democratic donors gathered at the Whitby Hotel in Manhattan last week. Manhattan, last week. Didn't Hillary have a fundraiser last week in New York? So it could be coincidental.
I don't know.
The dinner began with a discussion of which presidential candidates the contributors liked. But as conversations among influential Democrats often go these days, the meeting quickly evolved into a discussion of who was in the race and who could be lured in. And so this is where they... Oh, yeah. Let me read a little bit further here. It's a really good article. I don't know who wrote this, actually. Oh, it's interesting. I don't see a byline. How about that?
It might be they may do it at the end. Sometimes they do that.
Let me see.
They'll do a list of people that contributed.
Okay, I'll look in a second. So let's see. Where's the Hillary bit in here? Would Hillary Clinton get in? The contributors wondered. And how about Michael R. Bloomberg, the former New York mayor? One person even mused whether Michelle Obama would consider a late entry, according to two people who attended the event, which was hosted by the progressive group American Bridge. And then they just go on and talk about how, Joe has a problem. Well, actually, here. With doubts rising about former Vice President Joseph R. Biden's ability to finance a multi-state primary campaign, persistent questions about Senator Elizabeth Warren's viability in the general election, and skepticism that Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, can broaden his appeal beyond white voters, Democratic leaders are engaging in a familiar rite, fretting about who is in the race and longing for a white knight to enter the contest at the last minute. Well, we know what that means, don't we? It's time. It's time for the swoop, the swoop, the swoop. There she comes. So now, just these short clips. What is she going to run on? This guy gives it away.
I want to mention a couple of things first. Sure. Mainly is that Warren, I don't have the clip. I should have got it. But Warren's getting very snippy about questions about Hillary.
Of course she is. She's got a target on her head, as does Joe.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah, so now I think this is what they're going to run on. You heard in that first clip, who's not going to beat Donald Trump, but who's going to govern. I think that's something that sounds very Clinton-esque.
She denounced Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All proposal as a terrible conversation to have. She's completely against it.
The lady knows her health care. I mean, she was ahead of her time in 1994.
Did you get the nomination if you stood up and said it's terrible?
Well, you know what? That's a debate that the party's having right now, that, the candidates that are for Medicare for All are defending how it would be structured and how it would pay for, and the ones who are against are pressing those questions. I mean, if it's a health care debate, I think I would take that, and I'd put my money on her any time.
So healthcare, the lady knows healthcare. This is
let's stop there for a second. She developed in the early days of the first Clinton administration. Hillary was given some czar duties, which pissed everybody off.
Yes.
And she developed some healthcare scheme that was convoluted and horrible, and it was just berated, and it was going nowhere, and nothing ever came of it. But I'm reminded of Silicon Valley, where you can you just came up with the world's worst idea, and you lost millions, maybe billions of dollars, but because you had the experience of it. They throw more money at you for some other dumb project.
I know. I'm waiting for the former CEO of WeWork to get another cushy gig. Any day now, that beanie douche is going to get something. Now, this, of course, is really an Achilles heel for every single one of the current candidates for the Democratic nomination, because when they were asked specifically about giving Medicare or healthcare, Medicare for all or healthcare to include illegal immigrants, they all put their hands up. So she could beat out everybody just with that, I think. And here is something
by the way, one more aside. Because of that stupidity, because it was funny to watch, because one put their hand, then they looked at each other.
Like kindergartners.
It went up like dominoes. And so, because of that stupidity, they changed the rules of the debates where they can't do that. They can't ask these
no more questions. No more questions, because you guys are looking too stupid. So what would one of the slogans be? I mean, this guy was revealing it all in my mind, and I think he was completely complicit with, Fox was complicit to set this all up, to help their trial balloon, whether it's because they want it, because it would make ultimately because it makes the race more exciting, and it's the drama that we need to unfold right now in this reality show. So what would you run on? Well, let's take a soundbite from something the president said, and let's twist that a little bit and use that.
Look, you know that I played Donald Trump in 2016 when she was practicing for a debate. I threw those quotes at her like anything else. I threw Kate Steinle at her. But look, there's a difference between now and then. The man now has a record. He's been there for 3 years. And while Make America Great Again was really the tagline that got the most attention, he said something else in 2016, which was, what do you have to lose? And I think if we now ask ourselves that question, 40% of us are going to say we haven't lost anything, we've gained. 60% of us seem to think that we have lost. And one of those things is immigration, is people's freedom, and one of those things is health care.
So I love that, because they'll use that soundbite over and over again, even though he was saying it to one group of people specifically, which was black Americans. No. He said, what have you got to lose to everybody, apparently? And then that's a great soundbite for campaign commercials. But she's really going to run and going to win on immigration.
Bottom line here is immigration. And I know you believe that the president's plan on immigration has not worked. It has not gotten anywhere. It is not what you believed it would be.
That's it. I mean, that's the campaign right there. What have you got to lose? Well, you saw what you lost. Immigration is a mess. Trump failed, and the lady knows healthcare. That's it. She's in.
Well, which brings me to a couple of clips then.
Okie dokie.
But before we go to those, I want to just based on what you just said, I do have a note from one of our producers, Todd, who you have the note too. He keeps an eye on the odds makers.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And I want to do a report. I think we should do an occasional report on the odds and who's winning, who's losing.
Yeah, I actually believe Todd has been sending us in with that as the intent, and we just didn't get to it. It
fits in. It's starting to work as if what you say is true. Mm-hmm. And I believe you're accurate here. That this are all salvos to introduce Hillary into the scheme of things.
The White Knight.
Then we have to start looking at these odds, because it makes a difference.
Yes, where the money is.
Hillary is holding steady at 34-1, so she hasn't gone up or down. But it does, because things have been changing for everyone else. It does put her in front of Kamala, who is fading fast at 110-1.
She's not even on the radar anymore. Have you seen any sound bites or anything? She's being, I think, purposely ignored. Either that or she is purposely drawn back. That's also possible.
No, I think she did. She's shelved. Shelved is the word.
Shelved. See you in 4 years, Cam.
Tulsi is at 90-1, and Beto, who's really been fading, Beto 610-1. with the comment, I guess Beto's gun control policy of, like Waco but everywhere isn't resonating. Liz is slipping, with odds going from 3.9-1 last email to 5.3. Joe suffered during the debates in real time. He started at 9-1. He slid to 12-1 over the course of the debate. He's since staged a big move, coming into 7-1, so he's actually made a comeback. Mayor Pete and Bernie are also among the movers, starting at 19-1 and 17-1, respectively. But then he mentions at the end of his note, another big mover has been Bloomberg. He started the month around 600-1 and has moved to 90-1, which reflects what you said in your report.
Yes.
And I guess
in that report,
I guess our boy uses the name Art.
By the way, in that report from the New York Times, it's pretty clear that Bloomberg doesn't want to enter, but he'll be a financial participant. He's promised that once again.
Yeah, he doesn't want to run. I mean, he's an idiot if he tries. Now, which brings me to a clip. We have one Nobel Prize economics laureate in the country that is extremely famous. Yeah, he's responsible for a lot of stuff. His name is Robert Shiller, and he's a professor at Yale, and he's part of the Case-Shiller numbers, and he's very involved with the stock market, and he's developed a number of theories and ideas and how markets move and all the rest.
He's a billionaire?
No, he's not. He's a professor who makes good money.
Well, if he knows,
there's a lot of people that aren't in it for the money. He may be a billionaire, but if he does, he's hidden it.
Okay.
He's a teacher, and he's got the Nobel Prize, which is very difficult to do. I mean, Thomas Friedman is the other economist you'd think he has one. No, he's got a Pulitzer.
Krugman has. Doesn't Krugman have a Nobel Prize for economics?
Krugman might, but it's very specifically weird Nobel Prize. But anyway, this guy's interesting, and he seems to be from the generation of people that do support Trump. Smart guy supports Trump. He doesn't say that in this report, but he does bring in, this is a long clip. He does bring in a little zinger at the end, which I've never considered, but I think is something that the Democrats are completely overlooking. But now that it's been brought into the scheme of things, and by the way, CNBC seems to be bringing in a lot of people, because CNBC is the bull market promoters.
Yes.
So as long as Trump's in office, because they're fearful, like everybody else, is that Trump is actually propping up the stock market somehow, and I think they are. They're scared to death, and so Shiller has maybe the reason. And this is a very interesting little discussion on the stock market and the current economy and Trump.
We just had a little bit of a recession scare, or maybe an intense recession scare in around August. People looking at the yield curve, people looking at global growth and tariffs, and bracing for something like the end of this expansion. What makes you feel perhaps that's very premature, that we might have years to go?
Well, yeah, this inverted yield curve scare looked frightening at first, but nothing dramatic has happened. So I think maybe we're still in the Trump era. And I think that Donald Trump has, by inspiration, had an effect on the market, not just tax cutting. The big uncertainty, of course, is these impeachment hearings, and if he survives that, he might contribute for some time in boosting the market.
So if he survives this impeachment inquiry, if nothing really comes of that to jeopardize his place in office, do you assume perhaps that he'll get reelected? And then what does that mean, I guess, economically and just in terms of perhaps the public view of the economic outlook?
Well, re-elections are substantially helped. Well, he's helped along that he's already served one term. This is his chance for a second term. And if the economy is strong, which is what he built his case on, make America great again, he has a good chance of getting reelected. But it's an incredibly uncertain time right now. If we haven't seen such uncertainty in a long time, and where it's polarizing society as much as it is now.
That being the case, I guess, what about, you said it's not just tax cutting or perhaps deregulation. Is there something else that you think is going on in the economy, the nature of, I guess, this particular phase of growth that you think means that it could persist under Trump?
Well, the thing that is interesting is consumption expenditure. So consumption as a fraction of GDP hasn't gone down much from the recession. So the consumers are hanging in there. You might wonder why would that be and at this time, so late into the cycle, which is it's the longest expansion ever. Now you could say the expansion was partly Obama, but lingering on this long needs an explanation. And I think that has to do with the inspiration for many people provided by our motivational speaker president.
Well, yes, of course. Markets are very sensitive to that.
Yeah, motivational speaker president. Motivational speakers are notoriously full of crap.
Yeah.
But they get you jacked up.
But I'm motivated. I'm glad you played that, because the economy was something that came up in a conversation that was between Hillary and Chelsea, of course, promoting the book. And as you know, Chelsea only says 3 words at the very end of whatever Mama says. And there was some interest.
Why is she even there?
Well, she had the kicker. She has the kicker of the clip. It's a clip kicker. But let's listen to this. This is in Portland, a recent sit down, and this is I think it's a women's group, Democratic women voters. And I left most of the intro off where the woman who was asking questions on stage is talking about, well, who will you endorse? She says, well, if you won't say it, maybe something that sounds like, he says, I'm endorsing someone who is like, snoozes. Well, listen.
One of the things I loved of the watch.
Oh, shit. I actually pulled the whole thing off, didn't I? Anyway, it's about who she will endorse.
One of the things I loved of watching the last debate is I just thought, okay, all of these people, or almost all of these people who were
gosh, she sounded a lot like Hillary at the beginning. That's what tripped me up. This is the woman saying it.
Speaking, I would feel really excited to vote for them. And so, can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, look,
please.
All that matters is that we win. I hate to be so, sort of simplistic about it. We have to nominate the best. Well, thank you. I just feel so strongly that look. I just want to say a little bit.
Now, hold on a second. You heard her cough a minute ago, right?
Yeah, it was a tell, and she's nervous.
Well, something's happening. I think she was starting to shapeshift at the moment she was speaking. You'll hear it. I actually ISO'd it. Listen carefully.
Look, I just want to say a little bit more about this, because...
What was that? Listen to her throat. It's like a lizard. Listen. What is that? That's lizard shit right there, man. Listen closely. That she's suppressing the shift.
Yeah, she's about to turn, and their tongue is going to eat Chelsea.
Say a little bit more about this, because
that's why Chelsea's a little sitting. She doesn't sit right next to you. She's far enough away that she can jump out of the way.
In case the tongue lashes out so she doesn't get eaten.
Say a little bit.
All right, let's continue.
More about this, because it's hard to know who's going to be the best candidate to beat this president, assuming this president is still running. I mean, this is a really complicated political environment, and so we have a number of very able, very admirable candidates who are vying for the nomination. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of forecasters who are saying, look, if the economy stays in good shape and he's not impeached, or he's impeached but not convicted, it's going to be very, very hard because of all the advantages he will have on the stuff we were just talking about, like suppression and everything else. So
that's the reason.
I just want to see who can get the Electoral College, because it won't do us any good to win the popular vote again, which I think actually a number of our candidates could win the popular vote. But at the end of the day, as I know better than anybody, and as Al Gore knows, that is not the game. You got to win the electoral vote. So right now, let's just support our candidates. Let's have good debates. Let's see
for the kicker.
And we have to vet them, because believe me, they make up stuff about you, and you've got to be in a position where the public and the press don't fall for that again. So we need to vet our candidates by, pushing them hard. That's part of the process. So we see how people withstand what will be a brutal attack on them from the right and the Russians and all their allies. So that's what we should be looking for.
And then we get rid of the Electoral College.
Oh man, a bunch of un-American douche buckets. That's all she said. And then we get rid of the Electoral College. And how interesting is it that Ms. Clinton has always been saying, I won. Just look, I got 3 million more votes. And now it's like, oh no, need the Electoral College. Oh, now she's figured it out? Please.
Well, it was never a problem before. If you remember all the predictions, the road to 270, which was unattainable by Trump, and the Electoral College was in the bag.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that one up. Chunk from the Young Turks. Cenk.
Yeah, so we got to watch dissolve in real time during the election itself.
Yeah, so he goes to talk to a group of TYT Army members.
Woo!
Exactly. Young Turks Army. And I just got to play some of this stuff, because this guy, besides the fact that he literally sat there during the election like 98%, no, 90, well, 87. And, he was all in on the prediction. She's winning. Trump's a joke. So he spoke to this group, and I thought it was interesting enough to share.
So, look, we kid around about Donald Trump and his record-breaking stupidity. And he is. He's just an enormously low IQ individual. And you guys know, if you...
It's kind of interesting when you insult someone with the insult that person has used himself.
Over and over.
I mean,
and then you berate them from, this person is insulting people. Yeah. And then you do it. I mean, you either take one side or the other.
Well, it just gets worse from here.
Enormously low IQ individual. And you guys know, if you watch the Young Turks, any talk of what is Donald Trump's strategy drives me nuts. There ain't no strategy. He's just that dumb. They're like, why did he admit to a crime on national television? What could his strategy be? His strategy is his IQ's in the single digits. That's what his strategy
single digits.
Is, right? So
he said single digits.
So, you gotta back it up.
Mr. High IQ.
The IQ's in the single digits.
IQ's in the single digits. That's what his strategy is, right?
If you're going to insult someone.
Another guy who pronounces it GIF.
That's right. It's a GIF.
So, anyway, but I will tell you this: if he somehow miraculously survives impeachment and wins re-election, we will be in super dark times. Woo! So, look, it's on the board. I think it's a very low probability.
This is my favorite. It's on the board. It's on the board. So look, it's on the board.
It's on the board. It's just a bunch of cliches.
I don't know. I somehow just enjoy listening to him.
Super dark times.
Oh, yeah.
So, look, it's on the board. I think it's a very low probability event that he makes it through both. I was thinking about it the other day. You guys know I like predictions.
Yeah, we saw you, Chunk.
And so I was thinking about what's his chances of winning. And I have it way lower than anybody else does. I have it at 12.5%.
Well, that's about 11% higher than the last time.
Okay. But if you think about it, that's 12.5% that America is going to turn into a fascist state.
Oh, yes.
And it's on the board, guys.
It's on the
It's
board.
on the board as a possibility.
What is this board he's talking? Where does this come
I've
from?
never heard people use this phrase so much.
Where does it come from?
Board.
Where does it come from?
I think it comes from betting.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense after our little segment there. So it's on the board, folks.
We must fight back against that and win at all political costs.
All political costs. That's quite a statement there.
So whatever time you can give, however you can volunteer, whatever small donations you can give to whichever candidates, both congressional level and presidential level, we cannot have Donald Trump win again. If he does, he will have broken countless laws and never been held accountable.
Now, what does that mean if he's reelected? Chunk predicts more.
I'm here to tell you, and I hope it never comes to fruition. And again, I don't think it's going to, because I think we're going to fight back and we're going to win. But if Donald Trump were to be reelected, I guarantee you.
Okay, right. Got your pen, John.
Yeah.
Write it down. You guarantee. It's a chunk guarantee.
But if Donald Trump were to be reelected, I guarantee you he will start locking people up. He has said it.
Thousands of sealed indictments, I tell you.
He has said it over and over again that we should lock up his political opponents.
Really?
People who think he's kidding are stupid.
Oh.
They have not paid any attention at all. The maniacal, monstrous things that he promised to do, he has tried to do over and over again. There's been some checks and balances in the system, and we managed to stop him from doing some of the most outrageous things. But it is in his nature. It is his inclination.
Well, I'm glad you asked. That final clip explains the checks and balances in the system were able to stop him from doing something that we know 100% happened, even though it was in a book from someone who heard about it, who had seen someone who had probably been there.
So, look, the story that probably most defines Donald Trump is the one that broke recently about what he wanted to do with immigrants. First thing he wanted to do was murder them. He wanted to see if we could just shoot them and kill them. And even his own right-wing barbaric advisors said, no, Mr. President, we cannot just wantonly murder everyone at the border. He's like, God damn it. And he was upset at that. And he's like, can we shoot him in the legs? He said that, and he was not remotely kidding. So you think that guy is going to have any checks if he wins re-election? No, he's already weeded out anyone who will say no. Almost everybody in that room that said no to him shooting people in the legs or in the head has already been removed. So there'll be nothing but yes men. There'll be nothing but disaster if Trump wins.
Hey, clearly Chunk has gone to the Adam Schiff School of Interpretive Language. Because, I mean, it doesn't even paraphrase what was in the book.
By the way, they believe everything they read, too, which is really just depressing.
Oh, my goodness. But it's getting fun for us. I mean, this is great for the show. Chunk.
I'm going to give you a clip of the day for bringing that clip in. It's a good clip.
Thank you.
Clip of the day.
Well, the next one is, and it's, I guess, my final for the 2020 election segment, is not so much. I mean, what this is to me is telling that Joe is almost out. And I base that on this 37-second campaign video, which was put out by him, by his campaign. I cannot believe that anyone would say, oh, that's great, Joe. You did a fantastic job. This is the one that's going to get everybody to vote for you.
Folks, you hear the news once again.
Please note the audio alone.
Oh, well, by the way, I know that sound. That is an Ace Hardware plastic bucket that go for $1.98 in the paint department.
Yeah, well, it was video, so although it sounds like Joe had a bucket on his head, it was video, just shot in the corner somewhere. No backdrop, no dressing, no direct miking. Everything was shit, and this is sabotage from inside the Joe camp, the Jamp.
Folks, you hear the news. Once again, Putin and the Russians are trying to engage in our election to decide who the president's going to be. And this time I'm the object of their attention. Because Putin knows if I am president of the United States, his days of tyranny and trying to intimidate the United States and those in Eastern Europe are over. I'm going to stand up to him. He's a bully, just like the president. And I know he doesn't want me to be president, but to tell you what, when I'm president, things are going to change. Mr. Putin, the American people decide their elections, not you. Chip in $1, $5, $10.
My goodness. Mr. Putin. Really, Joe?
So he's talking to Putin?
He's talking to Putin, and then he says, chip in. Chip in $1, $5, $10. Which,
well, the worst part of this, if what you say is true, I've seen this clip.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe for a minute, although I'm seeing Biden, that this is anything official.
Yes.
But if that's true, which you claim it is,
yeah,
Biden had to approve it.
Yeah, of course, because he says,
is he an idiot?
I approve this message. Well, first of all,
approve that it's you can barely understand him. They're using the shotgun mic on a cheap camera.
Shotgun. It's an iPhone. It's not even no shotgun. It's just
it's an iPhone. Okay, I believe it's possible. Whatever it is. Even with an iPhone, you get better sound than that. This is a disaster.
Let's look at it from another perspective. What are the Democrats who are meeting secretly in Manhattan talking about? Joe can't raise money. And then this campaign video, hey, chip in $1, $5, $10. These guys are going, what a moron. We need $10 million, not 10, not 5, which is chip in bullcrap, Joe. It's...
Nah, he's toast.
I'm calling a health crisis. It's the only way. He has to either bow out because Hillary will trounce him, and she needs his spot. Joe needs to drop, and I fear for him.
Well, here's the thing that we have to deal with right now if we want to analyze this to the nth. What is the mechanism? This is the only thing I've written about this. I've got my reasons that Hillary should run. I got the whole thing done. But what is the mechanism for her to join in? I thought somebody suggested on the 16th when she did the house party donations thing at her house, that would be that would have been a good day. The day after the debate had been a good day for her to jump in. But what is the mechanism? How is she going to do it elegantly so she doesn't look like an interloper or a douchebag?
She needs to be demanded by party bigwigs. Some big people. So Joe, I think Joe has to go. Joe has to go.
The old term was drafted.
Drafted. There you go. Joe has to go. It could be Warren too, but she's in it for the long haul. As you said, she's getting salty. But she's not going to drop out. She's going to stay into till the bitter end. She has nothing to lose. Joe is going to have some form of crisis, either induced or whatever. I mean, you can just feel it. Hillary has already gone after Tulsi Gabbard, so that's done. Tulsi's out of the way, but that was just sharpening her claws, in my opinion. Just, oh yeah, I needed that bitch anyway because she screwed me in 2016. Sharpen up the claws. Watch this. See that, bitches? You see what I did to her? I can do it to you next. That was a warning shot. And then she needs to be drafted in by either the big Democrat donors who don't, there's no names in that bunch as far as I can tell, but maybe Michael Bloomberg.
A big name, some hotshot, a Bloomberg or somebody like that.
Could be a Bloomberg.
Has to come out because Bloomberg's name's in the fray and his odds are going in the right direction. And so he's now becoming big enough that he could be the one that does it. He can come and say, we are demanding that Hillary run or some. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be fun to watch how they're going to.
Well, didn't you hear that when they were in Portland? Well, I'm not sure who the nominee should be, and the crowd shouting, "You, Hillary!" And they can get the crowd behind her.
I don't have a problem with the crowd, but she still has to make the announcement somehow that is both elegant and doesn't make her look like a douchebag.
As if she cares.
Well, she does care.
No, she doesn't give a crap about what people say about her.
She doesn't want to look like a douchebag.
Well, it's going to be a draft, and it could be Bloomberg, but that wouldn't be enough. Then you need Hollywood. Maybe it's all teed up. Where's Reiner, by the way?
Reiner's not the guy you want to do this. He's too nutty. You want one of the green guys. DiCaprio would be good.
Oh, DiCaprio.
Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney, DiCaprio.
You need Clooney.
Yeah. Where's Clooney?
But you're right. Actually, now that I think about it, Hollywood could do this because they can produce it.
Yes. Well, what do you want to bet that's already being produced as we speak?
What do you want to make a bet that's already done?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to set you up because I know we both had it, but I'll let you have the kicker. And I will play as much as we can stand of Beto O'Rourke with Brolf. No, don't worry. I'm leaving your. I'm leaving that alone.
You're going to start setting me up with.
I'm setting you up, bro.
And I have the kicker. Okay.
I'm setting you up. So Beto is so off the rails that all he can talk about is Russia and of course Tulsi Gabbard. He's right in lockstep with Hillary.
Accused President Trump of being a Russian asset yourself. Do you have any evidence of that?
As a candidate in 2016, he asked on a stage for all the public to see for Russia to find Hillary Clinton's emails. We know that Russia followed suit that very day. Agents began to track down Hillary Clinton's emails.
Let me just stop for 1 second here.
What?
Because there's some confusion about the emails. The emails that most people, when you say the emails, were John Podesta's emails that were hacked from the DNC, and there's a lot of Hillary in there, but it's not the so-called 33,000 emails that she deleted or did away with, even though it was because it contained information about yoga and wedding plans. Even though she should not have deleted that because she had a formal request not to. So when Beto makes it sound like, and this is how I think people are hearing it, Trump called, the Russian agents scurried, and they got them because they hacked it, they got her emails. But it's two completely separate things. And as far as I know, those emails have never been found. They've never been undeleted, never been recovered.
The missing Hillary emails have never been found or released.
But he makes it sound like, the Russians went right to work, and then, you know how the rest of the story unfolded.
That Russia followed suit that very day. Agents began to track down Hillary Clinton's emails. We saw him as president on that stage in Helsinki, Finland, next to Vladimir Putin, defending the leader of Russia that invaded and attacked.
So Beto, okay, we're going to back up because I want to make an assertion here.
All right.
Beto makes mention, and Trump did come out and say, hey, Russia, he was joking in one of his things. He says, hey, go find her 30,000 emails. I know you've got them. And so now Beto says that Trump said that, and then the Russians went to work and then found the emails. They dug them up when in fact they found there were some other emails that the Russians had nothing to do with anyway, but it's beside the point. Beto made the assertion that this was kind of like they were found, but why doesn't Brolf actually say to him right then and there, so the deleted emails, the deleted Hillary emails were found and they were released? When was this? Remember he does that next, right?
Remember Chunk was talking about low IQ individuals? I think Brolf may be an actual one.
Emails. We saw him as president on that stage in Helsinki, Finland, next to Vladimir Putin, defending the leader of Russia that had invaded and attacked our country instead of the intelligence community here in the United States. We know that he lied to investigators.
By the way, words do matter. That he invaded and attacked.
Leader of Russia that had invaded and attacked our country.
Not elections, invaded and attacked our country. Brolf might have chimed in here, too, you think?
Stage in Helsinki, Finland, next to Vladimir Putin, defending the leader of Russia that had invaded and attacked our country instead of the intelligence community here in the United States. We know that he lied to investigators, obstructed justice, pressured other witnesses to lie in the investigation to determine Russia's involvement and his administration's culpability in what happened to our democracy. And then we've seen him follow with President Zelensky of the Ukraine and now with China. So beyond the shadow of a doubt, and for everyone to see clearly in black and white, this president has broken the law and has taken the side of Russia instead of the United States.
But are you suggesting he's getting orders from Moscow?
I'm suggesting he's working in the interests of Russia and defying the interests of the United States.
Maybe he believes. Maybe he believes he's working in his own self-interest, but that doesn't necessarily make him an agent of Russia.
Well, I'll tell you, from his invitation to Russia to become involved in this election, to his cover-up of what Russia did in this election, to his defense of Vladimir Putin on that stage in Helsinki, Finland, it really seems very obvious to me that he's working in the best interests of that country against the best interests of this country. And then there are some unanswered questions. The transcript of what he said in a one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin, where the evidence has been destroyed. The knowledge that he's placing some things on NSC servers that should not be there, that make it harder for us to learn the truth. And the fact that only through the Mueller report, the reporting from the press, and whistleblowers within the White House do we really learn the truth.
So you're not backing away from your accusation that he's a Russian asset?
I think he's working in the best interests of Russia.
Okay. Pussy.
Now, I will mention this. The Lib-Joes both believe this, too.
Now, just as a definition, the Lib-Joes are liberal journalists. There's two in your group, and they're very famous or notable mainstream journalists who do or do not write anymore. They're retired?
They're both, insofar as writing is concerned, they're both retired.
Okay, but they still prognosticate.
Yeah.
So they have said to you verbatim, oh yeah, he's a Russian asset.
No, he's working for Putin.
Oh, yeah, he's an employee. He's not
he gets a check.
Got it.
He's a money grubber.
Wow, man. Why do they still talk to you, you white supremacist Republican?
It's a miracle.
Why do they put up with you?
Because I'm the funniest of the group. That's the reason.
There you go.
Now, I've got this clip. This is another one. He's so hard up, Beto is, that he went to go on Sharpton.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to kind of jump to the punchline so I can get this out of the way. And then I'm going to play the whole Beto clip because I'm not playing, because I want this to be, I've created the ISO that everybody's all jitty about, where Sharpton makes another gaffe that goes on our list, and it goes into the files. And I'm going to do this backwards. I'm going to do a back-assward. I'm going to play the gaffe first, so we get that out of the way, and then we can play the Sharpton and Beto actually talking. But this is Gurgle and Hitler Sharpton ISO.
Perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle and the Third Reich.
So he says Trump was influenced by Gurgle.
Gurgle.
Gurgle and the Third Reich.
Reich, yes, the Third Reich. Let's just listen to it again, just because it's so beautiful.
Perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle and the Third Reich.
I mean, that is the end of show. No doubt, end of show. ISO Gurgle.
But so he has this guy, and meanwhile, of course, Beto hasn't got the nerve to say, "I think you mean."
Well, careful,
Goebbels.
Careful! I want to make a statement right now.
Yeah.
And this is I think we may have talked about it previously, in a general American sense. There is no R in Goebbels, okay? It's Goebbels, and there's an umlaut in there somewhere.
There is an R in Gurgle, though.
Yes, but even Beto says Goebbels. It's not.
Yeah,
Goebbels.
Americans tend to say Goebbels.
It's stupid. It's Goebbels.
Goebbels or
Goebbels.
Gurgle.
Well, you might as well say Gurgle. I mean, it's just as dumb as Goebbels. Or or Washington.
But he could have at least corrected him in some way. He just let it slide.
Of course.
Because he hasn't got nobody has the guts to say anything to Sharpton.
Oh, yeah. Sharpton's an agent of change, man. You got to be careful.
So here we go with the whole thing. We get to listen to the litany of lies and generalities and everything about Trump that Beto is robotically repeating over and over and over again, no matter what anyone calls him out on or anything else. He's like a robot. He's actually kind of pathetic.
The less likely we are to do something about it.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle and the Third Reich in terms of telling a big lie? I just want to make sure that's what I heard you say.
That's right. There is so much that is resonant of the Third Reich in this administration.
That's right, Rev Al. You nailed it. Gurgle. Screw the gurgle.
That's right. There is so much that is resonant of the Third Reich in this administration, whether it is attempting to ban all people of one religion and saying that Muslims are somehow inherently dangerous or defective or disqualified. Outside of Nazi Germany, it's hard for me to find another modern democracy that had the audacity to say something like this.
I don't know. How about Japan, World War II? Just a thought.
And then this idea from Goebbels and Hitler that the bigger the lie and the more often you repeat it, the more likely people are to believe it. That is Donald Trump to a T. The things that he says about immigrants committing crimes, being rapists, being predators and animals, seeking to dehumanize them, that's how we get them in cages. That's how we lost the lives of 7 children in our custody and care. Talking about African-American women duly elected by their constituents as somehow being less than American and telling them to go back to their own country, or calling white supremacists and neo-Nazis and Klansmen very fine people. The bigger the lie, and the more often you repeat it, the more likely people are to believe it.
Which is exactly what he's doing. Beautiful. Well done. Goebbels.
That horn honk was in memory of Scott Adams and his
quest.
Plea
his
to
quest.
Forget that notion.
His quest.
Perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle and the Third Reich.
Yeah, baby. Hal Sharpton, man. That guy is a piece of work.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. I mean, he may make a ton of money over there at MSNBC, but we do benefit a little bit.
Yeah, we're picking up the scraps.
Yes, by request.
You're producing the best podcast in the universe. NoAgendaShow.com.
You would ask for station IDs.
Oh, yes.
So we just broke for a station ID, and we're back, everybody.
And we're back.
We're back. Oh, my. And there's been, I had to shield myself. I had to tune out of some of this impeachment stuff that's going on. It's like,
especially the Republicans raiding and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, they've raided the skiff, and now there is a good. I'll just try and explain briefly, but there's a good point that's being made. Is that there is no impeachment at the moment. There is no impeachment process. It's an inquiry, which means nothing. And it also means that there are no subpoenas. You can say, hey, you got to come talk to us in the secure room. That's the skiff. And it'll just be us, and we might leak a transcript or two, but you got to come. But you don't have to. There's no judicial force behind these subpoenas until they vote for articles of impeachment. It's just not the process. But they're not doing that, and therefore the mainstream keeps reiterating, "Oh, he's being impeached. He's being impeached." No, it's just here's
theater.
Well, it is theater, but that's exactly what Beto was talking about. Repeat the lie often enough, and people will believe it. If you walk out on the street and say, "Hey, do you know anything about the impeachment?" Yeah, Trump's being impeached. Of course, that's what everyone will think. Almost. Here's another Fox moment. Judge Napolitano, who, as we know, he does have a personal issue with Trump because I guess he wanted to be Supreme Court justice. He wasn't asked. But he's figured.
He never denied that, by the way.
No, why would he? He's figured it out, though.
On just the appearance level alone, the President of the United States rewarding his family-run business and perhaps one of its premier moneymakers, the Doral Club Resort, to host this big event. The spillover effect from that, even at cost, is very good for whatever event locale you choose. But again, they are arguing that this is not a violation of the Emoluments Clause where someone is profiting off of something. I believe Judge Napolitano has a different notion of that. What do you think?
Well, Neil, it's not my notion. It's the Constitution's notion. When the Constitution does not address profits, it addresses any present, as in a gift, any emolument, as in cash, of any kind whatever, I'm quoting the Emoluments Clause, from any king, prince, or foreign state. So if this were a meeting of the governors of the United States, there'd be no Emoluments Clause problem. The purpose of the Emoluments Clause is to keep the President of the United States of America from profiting off of foreign money. Here we go again. Not in the campaign, but in some event or entity that he controls or is running. He has bought himself an enormous headache now with the choice of this. This is about as direct and profound a violation of the Emoluments Clause as one could create.
Why is Trump doing this? Why does he insist that the G7, that the decision to be at the
he's
Doral...
already backed off on it, but it was a good distraction, and
is that it? I found that personally. I found that quite annoying.
It was sincere, but it's just he's a natural.
I found it annoying. It's like, fuck off with your Doral. I don't want to know about it. I don't like that. I mean, I'm not all up in arms about
one bit.
I'm not all up in arms about emoluments, but come on. I don't know. It just seemed.
Well, I mean, it
dumb.
seems to me that it would be the ideal place you'd want to do it. You could have those rooms bugged way in advance. The whole place could be wired and very high tech.
I'm completely missing the strategy. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Wire that shit up.
Wire it up, man, to the gills.
There is something now called the Impeachment Task Force, which people are all jitty about on the tweeters.
I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
This is a clear and unprecedented abuse of power.
I would recommend that they start an investigation into the Biden. China should start an investigation.
He's becoming self-impeachable.
No one is above the law.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
Contact your senators today. Urge them to put country over party. When the time comes, we're counting on them to be patriots and vote to remove Trump from office.
You could charge the President of the United States with obstruction of justice after he left office.
Yes.
There's a paper trail.
If it was a secret vote, 30 Republican senators would vote to impeach Trump.
What did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Can't wait to come back. See you in Ukraine soon.
That's Hollywood. Hollywood is already working. That's a nicely produced piece.
Yeah.
So they're ready.
Where'd that come from?
Well, it was being tweeted around as, with big titles, Trump impeachment force or task force. Oh, yeah.
The A team.
Yeah, we got to militarize everything. That doesn't work unless you militarize it. That's when Americans like it. Task force. Yeah, we'll get him.
Well, somebody should do it because anyone can do this without Hollywood's help because the code is written and it's already on the computer, which would be Call of Duty, Get Trump.
A new game from Blizzard Innovating. What is it? Who makes that? Isn't that the secret guys who make it?
It's Microsoft, I think.
No, isn't it that?
It was.
Isn't it that closed? What's that? The name of that company?
I don't know. I'm not. I should know all these things, but I don't care. I do know Call of Duty is damn good, though. Man, that thing is a dynamite. It's just unbelievable.
Really, I have played Call of Duty 0 times.
Oh, you should play it once, and you'll just go, "Holy mackerel!"
No,
it's really the code is. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Just the idea, I got to hook up the HDMI cables. And
yeah, there's that.
But with that,
I let the kids do it.
But with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the Clinton swoop, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to the troll room. Hey, trolls, how you doing? NoAgendaStream.com. This is, I guess I should be doing an ID here, shouldn't I?
No, you're fine.
No, we need to do it.
Oh, you get another one.
Yeah,
okay,
I got tons of station IDs. You kidding me?
This is the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe.
Oh, God.
There was some everyone was like, whoa.
And we're back.
Well, Welcome back, everybody. You asked for it. You asked. The producers spring into action, man. They go right for it.
Glad that people are quick. They're quick on the draw. It's unbelievable.
And I have to remember to say something about that. But first, the trolls. Yes, noagendastream.com is where you can find this show that you might be listening to as we speak. But we had DJ Steven on this morning doing a pre-stream, and there's just all kinds of great things that you can hear there. So make sure that you tune in from time to time to the live stream at noagendastream.com, where you can chat along with everybody as well. Then we want to say in the morning to Mike Riley. Mike brought us the artwork for episode 1183. The title of that was Infosainment.
Adam and John critique the show art.
Now, I don't know why, but I remember that we had to talk about the art because there was a lot of it last time.
Yes. I think it was a whole page full. I think it must have been 20 pieces.
It was big, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. There's a number of good pieces. I like the Iwo Jima piece that was done by Darren.
Yes, raising the WhatsApp flag, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another WhatsApp. And then there was a nice 666, another Darren. Darren did a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he was on a roll. There was a number of cesium who's coming back into the fold, cesium 137.
He
does a lot of good stuff.
He was swinging for the fences.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was
other stuff.
This Tulsi with the Russian hat. It's always cute, but
that was comic, the CSB.
Right. I really thought the one we chose was just a beautiful, beautiful piece of art.
It stands out, and it's cartoony, and it's got it's super original because he's not using the templates.
Yeah, No Agenda, the holy grail of podcasts. And it popped. I mean, you just look at the page like, okay, that's just got to be it. You're right. It was totally original, no template, which made it even more interesting with the fonts that he used. And we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. The beginning of yet another hat trick. You never know. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can find all of the submissions. They're great for print them out, make 3D print coasters from them. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. We'll go to noagendashop.com. That's where you can buy a lot of this artwork. The artists get a piece of that. Of course, you could also submit your own if you want to participate in this very competitive space. That's noagendaartgenerator.com. And we are just 2 days away from our 12th anniversary on the show. That's why we're pre-celebrating, but we have done the pre-celebrations with the special donation amount and
12 years not a slave. Somebody came up with, one of our producers.
Yeah, that was interesting because that's what the newsletter was.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
And so I had the 12 years not a slave was because we mock everyone being slaves. And then so this one of our producers who I named in the newsletter came up with this 12 years not. I actually reprinted his note. This idea of 12 years not a slave, and because it was the only thing we had to do. There's nothing else I could come up with. So I did. I stole one of the signs for the movie 12 Years a Slave, which was a good film. Mm-hmm. And changed it. I used pretty much the same fonts, and I changed it to 12 Years Not a Slave with a little whatnot thing in there that he mentioned. And I looked at it and I said, I got to make. So I put this little thing at the bottom, a no agenda parody, not a real movie. And I did that not because I did it for the simple reason that is of the legality of using that poster. And because I didn't know if Disney had anything to do, because if it's Disney or Paramount, those guys are really freaky.
They'll come after you.
They'll come after you for anything, but they can't come after you for doing anything that's a joke or a parody on something they did, because it's a new use of an old product.
Right,
it's
so you asterisk
little stipulation in the fair use laws.
Little asterisks.
But I wanted to make it very clear. So I put that there.
Well, because, to be honest, we've had No Agenda Slave T-shirts with the barcode for, probably at least 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Kind of for a long time. I don't even wear that in public anymore. You can't wear that in public anymore. people they get triggered. They just like, what are you talking, slay you racist? They just go nuts. So you can't wear it. And so I thought it was rather risque what you did, but I liked it. I thought it was very no agenda, and screw them, right on. If people think that we're referring to slavery as in slaves, descendants of slaves from originally from Africa, then you're the racist for thinking that.
Anyway, it would seem like a good idea. It was a little. It was only edgy if you're not doing this sort of show. If we had advertisers, it wouldn't have gotten out.
Not happening. No.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
Now, the legal says no. Legal? What's legal got to do with it? Well, they said no.
Legal.
Legal.
The guys at up on the 12th floor said no.
And by the way, I think half the time that these suits are always telling people not to do something, they just throw it in. Legal.
Yeah.
Legal's never even seen anything of it. Legal says, you got to run it past legal. Sure. Okay. All right. So anyway, we have a number of people to thank for show 1184, starting with Sir Onimus of Dogpatch.
Sir Onimus
shows up again after being missing from action for a while. He's back with 1153.
Oh, man.
Which, again, is
his secret number.
Why.
It's his coded number.
It's a number. Maybe he wants to be a member of the 1153 club.
Now, has it been 1153 for a couple times in a row now, hasn't it?
No, I think the other one was something else.
Oh.
Well, maybe it was 1153. I'm not sure. But 1153, I don't know for sure. But he does have a note. Maybe he'll explain it in a note.
Okay.
But he never does. Thank you to all the producers and meetup hosts for making this the most innovative pod cult in the universe. Alternate universes. The international professionals asked me how Lizzie Warren, will do as a U.S. president.
Wait a minute, who asked him that? The internationalists?
The international professionals.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Again,
code
open for interpretation.
Mm-hmm. And we should mention that Sir Onimus of Dogpatch sends this,
and Lower Slobovia, by the way.
Yes, sends this through the U.S. mail system. And does he send Western Union?
He sends, most of the time he sends cash.
Oh, wow.
Not always. I mean, he used to send checks, but they were completely obliterated, so he couldn't figure out anything. And his signature's unintelligible, or was unintelligible. I haven't seen that for a while. It's mostly cash. And so they go into the bank as cash. Once he sent some coins, he's done other things. But he can do a lot of different things. He goes out of his way. He doesn't put his return address. All I know is it's always postmarked New York City.
Got it.
But that could be a remailer.
Yeah, could be.
He could be, for all we know, he's living in Singapore and he's remailing out of New York. I mean, we don't know. I mean, his ways of getting around.
As he has.
I burn his notes for his information.
Yeah, very good.
So nobody can take a note and to find a fingerprint on it, which I don't think you'll find anyway. All right. So we suspect he is of a sort that does not want to be identified, which is fine with us as long as the cash is good. He goes on about the international professionals, about Lizzie Borden. These professionals are the same ones that were confident in no or a quick Brexit in odd European perspective. Trump seems to be allowing the Astana process to unfold. Astana.
Astana process?
Look that up.
Okay.
The U.S. was already behind Russia and Syria, and our lack of political commitments was demonstrated when Obama went to Congress for an AUMF vote in August 2013 over chemical weapons. A AUMF introduced but never voted. Congress people were like cockroaches scattering when a light is turned on.
The Astana process were talks aimed to support the framework in accordance with UN Security Council Resolution 2254 that ended with the agreement between Iran, Russia, Turkey to work to enforce the Resolution 2254 ceasefire. I guess it's basically the Syrian peace process, which we heard so much about, which they kept going back to, and then they had to go to London and talk about it again. Interesting he brings that up.
It is worth remembering that Mattis resigned over the Syrian pullout in December 2018. His resignation letter was clear, quote, "Like you, I have said from the beginning that the armed forces of the United States should not be the policemen of the world. Instead, we must use all tools of American power to provide for common defense, including providing effective leadership to our alliances." Unquote. 10 months later, clearly no ally stepped up to replace our leadership, a.k.a. troops, in the buffer area, so Trump ordered them out. Mattis seemed to disagree with the process, not the strategy. Blood and treasure expended in the region has distracted us from a greater issue. Overusing Mattis from 10 months ago, overusing, in other words, Anonymous is overusing him.
Yes.
From 10 months ago, his resignation letter also stated, which tells me that Anonymous is not a professional writer. Quote, "Similarly, I believe we must be resolute and ambiguous in our approach to those countries whose strategic interests are increasingly in tension with ours. It is clear that China and Russia, for example, want to shape a world consistent with their authoritarian model, gaining veto authority over other nations' economic, diplomatic, and security decisions to promote their own interests at the expense of their neighbors, America and our allies. We need to," unquote, "we need to stay focused on our real peer-to-peer adversaries who are investing in serious weapons and technology on land, sea, airspace, cyber, senses. Remember the mysterious headaches by diplomats?"
Yeah.
Referring to Cuba.
Yeah.
And economic. ISIS and Taliban leaders are regional things, ruthless and godless, but not any more world-dominating than Colombian drug lords. By the way, I really don't like Trump, but as the saying goes about a broken clock, NJNK. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff.
A lot of stuff to think about. Thank you very much, Anonymous of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia. And I've taken my notes, so I don't have, because John will burn yours. And I will research. And thank you again for supporting the show. You are a massive producer of this podcast, and it's highly appreciated.
He might be skinny. Michael Minton follows with $420.69. And he has a short note. Inaugural donation, from Louisville Local 8008. Meetup recap, email, photos follow later today. LL8008 will be sharing the executive producership, but here is the donation recall as well. Jim Baugh, $20. Maxine Waters Gravel.
Aha. There you go.
And he kept them anonymous, $100. Chris B, 50. Brittany G, 100. Jamie R, 30. And Sir Mittens, or good old Sir Mittens, $120.
I have a quick meetup report, which I did receive from Sir Mittens. Might as well tack it on here. 7 courageous producers shuffled into the Monarch Beer Company on the 20th to hoist pints, speak freely, and officially establish Local 8008 in Louisville, Kentucky. The science is in. 97% of anthropologists agree that our union would most likely never speak to each other, let alone end up in the same sequestered space, even if we had more than 10-ish years left to live. The factual consensus is a testament to the strength and sanity provided by the No Agenda show. Thank you, gents. A collective de-douching would be appreciated. Hold on. Let me get your collective de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Assorted miscellany from the meetup. More than a couple of us were concerned that you two did not remove your Q glasses after donning them last time. Please let us know if this worry is unfounded. Mine are up on the top of my head. Did you take them off?
Oh, I have a case for them.
Oh, okay.
And a locked case. That's why it takes so long to get them on. I don't like anyone accidentally putting them on.
Yeah, I think you didn't hear it because we did it during the commercial break.
Unlike you, who apparently don't care.
Another
if you
question.
Put them on top of they're laying around.
Well, I don't have any kids around the house. Another question. Is there a standard or proper digit upon which an NA knight or dame ring should reside?
Answer from the Peerage Committee. It should be on the thing. It's not on the memo. No.
There's no proper way to.
You can put on a thumb. You can put on a pinky. I think a pinky.
Put it on your toe. Make it a toe ring.
I think a pinky would be kind of cool if you're
pinky
of
ring
the sort,
like Sinatra.
Yeah, pinky ring, kids.
We have set out to have monthly gatherings, which will land on the No Agenda Meetups site, noagendameetups.com. The more producers, the merrier. Once again, thank you for being the reason for the meeting, Sir Mittens of Fall City. And thank you very much, local 8008 in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm glad you guys had a good time. And thank you for the support.
I have some concerns.
Uh-oh.
Now, I think these meetups are great, and I do like the idea that people get together and they don't have to worry about being triggered. The whole reason for these meetups is fantastic. But as we've seen in the past, the distant past, sometimes groups will form outside of the show, outside of the structure, and without the show hosts, and they will skew. I remember No Agenda forums, for example.
Oh, yes. Well, that was a long time ago, but yes.
I think the phenomenon's real. And they will get together because there will be some personalities that are stronger than others in any group dynamic. And it's possible that there could be some subversive action that takes place within these meetups. People have to be vigilant, is what I'm saying.
Yes. So be careful. Be careful in general. But if you want to see what that's like, just go to the No Agenda Reddit. You can see exactly what it's just like the No Agenda forums. It's the exact same thing.
I don't recommend that. That's off the rails. I go there once a year, maybe, because somebody sends me a link, and by accident I click on it, and I'm in the middle of this. And I think it's just one guy with about 10 personalities, some psycho.
That's the accusation, yeah.
And he's in there, he's his own group, and he's just gone nuts. He argues with himself.
Well,
he's like
the one guy who posts under one name and has been, went away and came back. I actually know who he is. I mean, I know who he is, and he's a real guy. I don't
comic strip blogger.
No, please. No, I don't want the emails. Don't say that. It's not comic strip blogger at all. Anyway, yes, you always must be vigilant, but I think that was such a long time ago that the collective size of the amygdalas who go to these meetups just won't have it if someone starts talking crap.
Well, if there's enough people there that no one can really, you can't pull it off. But if a small group of 5 or 6, like you can have in some of these more remote areas, it can easily happen. Yeah. What happened with this group was, first of all, they were huge fans of the show. And then they decided they're going to do their own podcast.
No. I'm sorry. No, that's not how it went. It went like this. They're fans of the show, and they set up noagendaforums.com, which is fine. We've always had the policy, set up whatever you want. Yeah, it's fine. And if you make any money on anything you set up, we'd love to have some of it. Doesn't matter. Even that doesn't matter. Their problem was, you never hang out and post and answer questions, which is exactly what they would say on Reddit. You don't participate. We have questions. You don't want to talk outside of the show. And that's exactly what it sounded like. And so I wouldn't do it. I mean, you wouldn't do it. I got no time for this to argue.
I don't.
And then
usually don't do it.
And then they created their own show, which was going to go deeper into depth and be better than the No Agenda. Wasn't it the Roundtable podcast or something?
Yeah,
like this? Something. Yeah. We've been through a lot of interesting ups and downs in the past 12 years.
Well, it's not ups and downs for us. We're pretty stable.
Well, also, we have the troll room, and that's the place for this. Do it during the show for all I care. It's fine. Sometimes it's actually helpful.
And sometimes you actually get Adam worked up to the point where not so much recently.
Oh, you're talking like 9 years ago.
No, we didn't have a troll room 9 years ago.
No. Yeah, we did.
It was a chat room.
Oh, you're correct. When it was still a chat room. Didn't we shut it down? Didn't we stop the show? Just quit one time?
No, we never stopped the show.
Okay. Well, in my dreams.
But you got irked so much of some guy, you just started screaming. You went nuts.
I'm older now. I'm calmer.
Well, talking about calm, we have Sir Terry, the Knight of Crowley's Ridge, who's very calm with his $333.33 donation. Doing my part, he writes, here to show appreciation for the much-needed jobs karma. Trump jobs karma. Oh, no.
He says he says it works.
I think it's risky.
I mean, okay.
If he wants it, I mean,
But he's not asking for it. He's saying, I want you to know that the much-needed jobs karma worked.
Okay.
But I'm going to give him Nancy karma. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's too risky.
Yeah, too risky.
And to also show my appreciation for 12 years of courage, here's to a 12 more, which makes us laugh. Yeah. I would like to request a title change while on my road to baronhood.
Yo.
My current title is Sir Terry, the Knight of Crowley's Ridge. I would like to change my title to Sir Destro.
Okay.
Is he on the list for title change?
Let me double check that.
Meanwhile, after you better double check because you got to get your finger on the button.
Yeah, he's there, and I got my finger on the button.
I would like to call out my dad, Dayakar, as a douchebag. Hey, wow. Lastly, I would like to give a shout out to my brother-in-arms, Sir Rocket Man, Baron of the Bay. Without him and his family, my move to New York, to a new city, to New York, that's funny, to a new city. I'm reading ahead in my brain.
Yeah, stop that.
To a new city, my move would have been miserable or might not have happened at all. I would have also not be listening to twice weekly to the best podcast in the universe were it not for him.
Oh.
So I'm very grateful for his friendship. The meetups, by the way, are awesome, and meeting you both is something I recommend all knights and aspiring knights do at some point. Meeting the keeper was great, too. My jingle request, if Adam can find it, is JCD ranting about eating airplane peanuts in ways that annoy him to no end. That's actually a long bit.
It's 35 seconds. It's worth it.
With some Marvin Gaye sounding music moved into the background and some F cancer karma for those who need it. Keep up the great work, gents. Sir Terry, Knight of the Crowley's Ridge, to be changed to Sir Destro.
Just go for it, John. Tell us your peeve about the fisting method of eating snacks on an airplane.
Okay. I see this on the airplane, and it's very annoying, and I think it will result in fights breaking out because it's just so annoying to watch. Guy takes his bag of peanuts, and he throws a pile of them into his palm of his hand, and then he makes a fist around the nuts. And then he shakes his fist to try to bring a nut to the little hole. Stop. And then he throws a nut in his mouth from his fist. Then he does it again. He shakes and throws and shakes and throws. It is annoying as hell to watch.
This is the No Agenda Show with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. Brought to you by the Value for Value model.
Our producers are out of control.
And we're back.
And we're back, everybody.
Okay, so Baronet Sir Kyle Kinzer in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go.
Pack.
Go.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. While you're, I neglected to put the jobs in F cancer karma or the. You only want F cancer
what
karma.
am I thinking?
I'm sorry.
You've got karma.
There we go.
Okay. Now the Baronet, go Packers, go Cheeseheads. Then there's a reference you won't get.
Yeah, of course. It's Wisconsin, Green Bay Packers, cheese, Gouda. I get it. Ha ha ha.
What's the cheesehead specifically referred to?
They had in Wisconsin where they make a lot of cheese.
No, they wear a big giant wedge of cheese.
Yes, I know that at the games on their head because they're the cheese steaks.
You know, somebody sent me one of those things years ago.
What? I was the producer.
They sent me the big cheese head, so I could. It was funny to have her on the dining room table.
Go
the thing
Astros.
Is, it's made with the cheapest crap plastic, and so it just oxidizes and turns into a powder.
Go Rockets.
Rockets. Okay, here we go. Now, Sir Kyle Kinzel, Baronet, Green Bay. He wrote on a black sheet of paper in giant letters using colored Sharpies or something that are in like silver and silver blue and all these things. It's very, very pretty. I'm actually going to keep this note because it's so, it's just like art. ITM, this donation note is in dark mode. Sounds like
dark mode. It's dark mode.
Dark mode.
Dark mode.
By the way, I have gone into dark mode, and like Twitter has dark mode now.
Oh, I for about 3 seconds, and I was done with it.
It's unusable.
Yeah, it really is. It really is not. It's not great.
I love the show. Why? Because donating is love.
That's right.
No agenda is the BPITU. Jingles. Oh, I should have given you this first, but here's the jingles. Sharpton Respect, Huntsman, and Karma. Love and Light, Sir Kyle Kinzel, Baronet.
Respect and Huntsman
and Karma.
And Karma. We can do that.
RESPICT.
You've got karma.
Yes, very artistic note. In a funny kind of a postmodern way, I might add. Okay, here we go. Sir Tim of the Tunnels comes in as the first associate executive producer, $242.40. Jingles. He's got some jingles up there. Raven, Biden, Full Load. Can you see the juice? We've done it. We've seen this before, and that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Follows your nut fisting perfectly.
The nut fisting, yeah. Hiya, fellas. I'll keep this short. Happy anniversary. May I please be de-douched?
You've been de-douched.
It's been a while since my last donation. Thanks. Hopefully, this double not a slave donation helps keep the lights on. Double not a slave.
Double
I like
not
that.
a
We'll
slave.
put that
Very
in the next
good.
one.
Yep.
Keeps the lights on and such. Hopefully, it'll be doubly effective, and it's coming from an ADOS.
American descendant of slavery, ADOS.
Well, good. Well, and he would be the one to bitch about it. One last thing. Can I get an F cancer karma for my half-brother? Of course. I recently met him for the first time as a family reunion and found out he has stage 3 esophageal cancer. Oh, that's not a good one. But what's his name? The actor Douglas had that, and he got over it.
My neighbor had it too. He's a survivor too.
Esophageal cancer also seems to be very prevalent in the Calvados growing area of France.
Is this something you picked up?
So to my fellow imbibers of fine spirits, I recommend drinking Calvados only occasionally.
You think that could have something to do with it? You think the wine could have something to do with it?
I would think it was the Calvados, which is apple brandy.
Oh, I'm sorry, apple brandy, Calvados. I'm fancy.
So, yeah, I think it might. I mean, there might be something in there.
Damn.
Calvados is made usually brandy and pears. Anyway, so I just it's cautionary.
Yes.
Cautionary.
Well, Sir Tim of the Tunnels, thank you very much for the support and for the double not a slave donation. This is really appreciated.
Straight from Reseda, here she is, Raven. Give it up.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
That's wrong.
You've got karma.
That combo is a classic.
It's
lewd. No wonder we got rated as pornography by one of the rating systems.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. We're audio porn, which, by the way, is an exit strategy I'm considering.
There you go.
We could do it.
All
John.
right. So with Sir Tim's our associate executive producer and our only associate executive producer for show 1184. I want to thank all these folks for executive producing and producing the show 1184, and it's very appreciated.
Yes, and there was something I wanted to mention, which I wrote down. Yes, two things. One, so not everyone can support us with financial means. But here's something you could do. Make a web page and write a story of your 10 favorite podcasts. Because I see this all the time. and be like, here's the 10 best podcasts for driving to work. Here's the 10 best podcasts when you're hiking. The 10 best podcasts for whatever.
I'm going to pre-applause this suggestion.
So, and of course, it never includes the best podcast in the universe. So I would recommend, you don't have to put us at number one, but I would recommend.
Yes.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yes,
but I would recommend.
Don't listen to him.
That and it can't be just a tweet. You've got to make a web page. Write a little blurb about, and do the top 5 for all I care. But 10 seems to be the number that people respond to, and always put us in there and tweet, and I'll retweet, and John will retweet, and you'll be famous. Yep. You'll be internet famous. It'll be fantastic.
I think this, and we have so many dudes named Ben that they can put up a web page, just by falling down the stairs. It's no problem. So, in fact, what you're suggesting is that will get the kind of juice. It just takes about 9 months before it catches.
Yeah.
But Google will start to pick it up.
Yes.
And then when they say, what's the best podcast? Somebody will be sitting there wondering what to listen to, and they're going to put in best podcast. And one of your pages will come up in the top 5. And they say, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Yes, this is absolutely a fantastic idea. This is a marketing idea that I will give Adam 10 points for it. Maximum points.
Well, it just hit me once again, someone, tagged me on a tweet that said, you forgot the best podcast in the universe. And of course, and that's the beauty, is these are very subjective. No way are we going to.
Most of them are bogus.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's subjective. It's just publications, and someone say, hey, it's time to write a podcast thing. I'll do a top 10. Okay, what are you going to do? I'll do my favorite top 10. Okay. And then maybe, if you really want to be fancy, then you can, register a domain name, something like
bestpodcast.com
or best podcast for driving, or something like this, hiking, camping, best educational podcasts. I mean, you can do all kinds of really fun things. It doesn't cost a lot of effort and shouldn't cost any money to do it, but it really helps, and certainly with our Google juice.
Yes, and we want everyone who does this. I'm jumping into this. We want everyone who does this to make sure that we know about it, so we can also put a magic list. So we can do our own list of lists. We'll do the
best lists of the lists. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll do a meta and include you in it.
Thank you to our executive producers and our sole associate executive producer, but loved as much. Thank you for supporting us and for celebrating with us, because it is your show as well. As you know, 12 years on the 26th. This is a great pre-celebration, and you can get in on the action for our show on Sunday, which will be the celebration, even though one day late.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And remember, you can just tell everybody, hey, man, it's one of the 10 best podcasts for driving.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order!
Shut up, slave!
Shut up, slave!
This is the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe.
And we're back. I think I've overdone it now.
Yeah, we don't need to do an ID every 10 minutes.
I think I've overdone it, yes. There was a whole discussion on Twitter. They should get the celebrities to do IDs. I'm like, what celebrity is that? What celebrity is going to support and endorse us? No.
Yes, they're already endorsing. They're against everything we do.
Kind of.
I was watching, by the way, talking about celebrities. So the Today Show, which I haven't watched for a while, but I got up a little earlier than I wanted to. So I started eating breakfast, watching this. So I flipped on the TV and watched the Today Show. Carson Daly is now the girl on the Today Show who does the celebrity stuff. And he doesn't look he looks the worse for wear. He's gaining weight. He doesn't look happy.
He doesn't look very
No, he's not chipper.
Happy and all. No, he's not.
Considering the bubbly girl over at Good Morning America who does all the celebrity stuff, she's cheerful and she bounces around. But it's always the celebrity stuff and Barry Jones and Miley Simpson. They were caught smooching in Central Park, and here's their Instagram.
I like Miley Simpson.
I don't even know who they're talking about.
Miley Cyrus, not Miley Simpson.
No, I'm talking about unknowns. I know Miley Cyrus. I don't know Miley Adams. I don't know Miley Simpson. I don't know any of these people. And but apparently somebody does, because they got all kinds of tweets and Instagram photos, and they're hugging and kissing, and they're caught in Central Park or on the street in New York by accident or on accident. And I'm watching this report, and I'm going, who gives a crap about these people and the fact that they're setting a new date, or they've named their baby Ashley, or some stupid crap that is just completely out of control. And poor Carson Daly's sitting there reading this stuff, and he can't even manage to smile. It's like, how did I get into this mix?
Okay, so it was Miley Cyrus and Cody Simpson who were making out together.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing names out.
Well, you basically married them. Hey, there it is. Yeah. According to the No Agenda show, Miley and Cody are married, and she now goes by the name Miley Simpson.
There you go. Well, we're ahead of the game.
Yes, you
are. But the point is, that's not what my point is, that it's like pathetic. And they've also changed the set. So the set's all white. It's very white. Like everything's bordered with white, and it's got a lot of pastels. And Roker,
like
who seems to be shrinking, by the way. Roker, I think, is 3 inches shorter than he was last year. He's wearing these neon blue glasses. They're just like, what? Who wears those? And it's just a whole show. And then people, I don't know who Hoda's there with some guy.
Well, they had to fill. Well, first of all, once they ousted Matt Lauer, the ratings actually went up. And so now they think they're all responsible, and it must be me. No, it's got to be Carson and Al Roker. And I think it's about time for me to repeat that he is a dick. I've worked with him many times on Z100 in New York, and he's an arrogant dick. And by the way, this was back when he was the old Rev Al size. And he's just and he will do anything to push himself ahead. He'll steal punchlines. He'll elbow his way into things. He's just a dick to work with. Maybe I should say that. Just a little FYI. A little personal experience.
Well, he's done well for himself.
Oh, he's done very well for himself. Hey, do you remember this?
Oreos are just as addictive as cocaine.
That's one of our staples, right?
Yeah, and I loved a little giggle at the end.
Well, the mainstream is confusing me.
A potential class action lawsuit claims the video game Fortnite is as addictive as cocaine and tobacco.
I mean, what? And then today...
Finally, delicious chocolate chip cookies could be as addictive as hardcore drugs. Well, a study found that the effects of sugar and sweets appear to be stronger than those of cocaine.
I mean, how's cocaine? Is cocaine any good anymore? I think cocaine better up its game, because cookies and Fortnite are taking over.
I don't understand cocaine's not technically addictive. It's psychologically addictive, so there's possibly is possible that they're trying to make this equation. I don't know. I don't know what they're up to with these announcements. Why are they promoting any of this stuff? None of it's good for you.
No.
The cocaine's not good for you. The sugar's not good for you. The starches aren't good for you. The cheap flours they use that come in from God knows where. Just saying.
Yeah. I was just saying, too. It's just like that. I mean, they got to get their story straight. I mean, if everything's as addictive as cocaine, then cocaine must suck these days.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe. Sorry. I hope I make it through. So here's a story from your neck of the woods that we haven't discussed.
Mm-hmm.
This is the James Luna story. James and Luna is this poor kid's first name. Let's play this story in its entirety, kind of but the most important part. Start with the intro.
You're a boy, right?
No, I'm a girl.
Who told you you're a girl?
Mommy.
Gender identity is something children as young as 3 are unlikely to have heard of. Yet some, it seems, have a clear understanding of who they want to be, and are now caught in the bitter crossfire of debate about whether sex change therapy should be available to the young and vulnerable. While celebrities offer support in the forefront, calling it necessary treatment, experts argue about whether such progress really will improve thousands of people's lives, or represents a dangerous trend for humanity.
And John, may I ask, where did this come from, this wonderfully announced report?
I don't know where that voice came from, but this is from RT because nobody else wants to report it.
Right.
Although there's some reporting going on of it,
sure,
mostly on the blogs. But let's play the kind of a lengthy. I didn't know this clip was this long, but let's play James Luna's story 1. Very well produced, not well produced, but well worth listening to.
Jeff Younger is father of the 7-year-old James. Jeff, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us. Thanks for agreeing.
Well, you could have left all that off
to talk to us.
Thank you.
I could have.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
So your story has sparked a huge debate all around the world. At the very beginning, when your son James first told you that he was a girl, what was your reaction? I mean, were you taken aback? Did you take it seriously?
I took it very seriously because I'd had some information when I was still living with Ann Georgelis, my ex-wife. She had been putting him into timeouts and saying things like the monsters only eat boys and some odd things like that. So when I heard this, I took it very seriously. He said, "Mommy tells me I'm a girl." And I would ask him, do you look like a girl? And he'd say, "No, but Mommy tells me I'm a girl." He's never presented himself as a girl to me ever. And in fact, with me, he violently rejects any female identity. He won't wear female clothes. He won't even wear boys' brief underwears because he says it's too much like girls' underwear.
So he's basically living this bipolar life right now. He's a boy when he's with you, and he's forced to dress like a girl, or does he dress like a girl by his own will when he's with a mom?
I believe he dresses by his own will when he's with his mother. I just don't think he believes that she'll love him if he's a boy. But he dresses as a boy at her house as well.
Does she somehow tell him not to dress as a boy if he wants to dress as a boy?
I've only been in public with him as a girl twice, and on both cases when I brought boys' clothes, his mother was extremely disapproving, and in one case pulled him out of my arms, and I had to let him go so that he wouldn't get hurt, so that he wouldn't be allowed to put on boys' clothes.
So James told you...
So he knows that she disapproves of it strongly.
So James told you that his mother dresses him in girls' clothing, uses hair clips, puts nail polish on him. My immediate reaction would be to get in touch with his mom and ask why. I mean, did you do that? What was Anne's explanation? Did you have a talk about it?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to verify it, and I sent her a text and said, are you actually telling James that he's a girl? And she's just replied simply yes, and then refused to talk to me about it. The next time that it became an issue was when he had his sort of coming out party. She took him to his 5th birthday party in a dress. She just essentially wouldn't speak to me about it.
But is it normal that, because you're just as much of a parent as she is it normal that yes is an answer enough for your son to be heading towards a gender change?
No, it's absolutely not normal. I'm a joint managing conservator in Texas, and that means that we share parental rights. But there was one key parental right that the court did not give me, and it was the right to consent to psychiatric and psychological treatment. And that's kind of how she's gotten around this. She's saying that this is psychiatric treatment, and so I have no rights regarding this issue with my son.
Yeah. So I have been following this story. It's a Texas story. There's a lot of background we don't know, which unfortunately wasn't in that 3.5 minutes you dragged us through. We don't really know what these parents are separated, which makes it a very different situation than two loving parents together with the child, putting them through this. But I'm sure you have your reasons, so I'll be quiet.
Should mention the kid's a twin. which is not discussed in any of these reports.
Boy twin or boy-girl twin?
Boy twins.
Mm-hmm.
The other kid is Joshua, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm.
The woman, which makes this really creepy, is a licensed pediatrician.
There you go.
Who runs a clinic with another woman in this little town, Cotterell, some little burg in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a website. I'm surprised she hasn't been doxxed more. She has a website, and she seems like she looks kind of normal to me. She doesn't have that. She is like weird looking. And but this issue is like very strange. I think maybe I don't know if she wanted a girl and she decided she's going to make one of the boys into a girl because they got another boy. What difference does it make? I'm not sure. Part 3 of this, I want to play that, which is a short clip, but it kind of gets to the point. Then I have an article which I'll just read at the end, then we can talk about it.
James is being dressed as a girl. His name was changed to Luna. He attends the girls' bathroom at school. So if everything goes ahead like James's mother wants, your 7-year-old boy will be given puberty-blocking hormones, and in a couple of years will undergo sex change surgery. I mean, it's kind of hard to ask, but how does it make you feel?
Look, I consider this to be child abuse and the sexual mutilation of children on an industrial scale. So it makes me feel terrible. I can't believe that a mother would do this to her son. And I cannot believe that the state of Texas would allow it and sanction it. But we have clinics right here in Texas that do sex changes on children all the time.
So your ex-wife is accusing you of child abuse towards James. What exactly is she implying by abuse?
She's saying that it's psychologically abusive to James, that I will not affirm his fake female identity. And she has gone to court and filed what's called a motion to modify. It's a thinly veiled parental termination request, saying that I have to go to a transgender education class. If I don't attend the class or achieve satisfactory marks, then I can be jailed for contempt. I can be jailed if I use male pronouns for James or show him in public as a boy, or if I cut his hair in a boy's hairstyle.
You will obey. So I have a clip here or not a clip, but the headline. I'll read this. Texas jury blocks dad from stopping 7-year-old son's chemically castrated transgender transition. And apparently this took place with a consensus of 11 of 12 jurors. The jury decided not to grant Mr. Younger sole managing conservatorship over his 2 twin boys. They voted the current joint managing conservatorship should be replaced by a sole managing conservatorship, but Mr. Younger would not be that person. Judge Kim Cooks will read her ruling on possession, child support, and so on. Apparently, guys pay child support, even though Dr. Geogulas, Geogulas, if you want to look her up, other requests. Anyway, it goes on, and this is a very disturbing situation, and it's taking place in Texas. Please explain.
I don't know. I mean, I have not looked into the case itself. I've not seen any of the documents, so you're asking me to explain. That's unfair because I just don't know.
Well, it is unfair because I just dropped this on you, but it's got to be in the news. Don't they play this story?
Yes, yeah, they do. It's in the news, but not to this extent, not with the background. So I appreciate that because now all you hear is the 7-year-old who's dead, blah, 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 blah. What? But I will say that the transgender ideology, which to me is not the same as transgender people, we have trans people who listen to the No Agenda show who are staunchly against this practice and this behavior with children, I think may actually become more of a uniting issue between left and right ideologies in the United States. The former New York banker pinged me on Tuesday. Said, maybe the last day we can go out and wake surf. I'm like, okay, which was a little too cold, quite honestly, for me. And it smelled like dead fish in Lake Austin. But he brought it up because he's seeing, I think, 6 or 7 kids at one of his kids' school. And he says he can't wrap his head around it. And he's not the only one. And he is a massive lefty. Well, Democrat would be more fair because he's clearly a capitalist, so he can't be completely on the left. But, hates Trump, all things wrong. But it seems to be a uniter. And I base that on a story I picked up last night, once again on Fox. Kara Dansky, who is, of course, known on Twitter as the TERF, TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Female. She is from the World's Liberation Front, and she's very upset and has some interesting things to say about the state of trans and how it's used in general, but specifically what we've seen in the past few days with women's sports. Nigerian won and set world record on 500 meters, and there was a new world record and winner in cycling, and it was also a trans woman. Who both of them, the Nigerian and this, I don't know where this other person is from. They look like men, and they even wear men's. They don't even, they're still men. I mean, they still have male genitalia, and it's very interesting to hear how difficult it is to even bring this up at all.
McKinnon is a male cyclist who on Saturday won a championship in the women's cycling competition in Manchester, England. And there are many feminists, women, who are questioning the right of male athletes to compete in women's sports. And this seems to be unacceptable for us to take this position. But we will continue to take this position that it is unacceptable for males to compete in women's sports. It's very important in this country for the purposes of maintaining Title IX protections for women and girls, which is something that my organization, the Women's Liberation Front, cares very much about. I want to also just make the point that many of your viewers may not understand that there are many people on the political left, including especially feminists, lesbians, gay men, and bisexual people, who are gravely concerned about what the Democratic Party is doing on the topic of gender identity and pushing the notion that men can be women and women can be men, which is, first of all, regressive politically because it aligns with the notion of gender, which we want to abolish, but it's also just it's inaccurate scientifically. And there are many Democrats who are willing to say this, but many of your viewers may not know that because we are generally subjected to a media blackout. Those of us on the left, Democrats, cannot get a voice on NPR, cannot get a voice in the New York Times, cannot get a voice in the Washington Post. We have tried. We have said we have a feminist and a gay rights objection to the trans movement, to trans ideology, and no one will hear us. No one will publish us.
Now, isn't that interesting?
Well, it doesn't surprise me because the New York Times in particular has been pretty much behind pushing this agenda. I've noticed it. I started when I was subscribing, and we remembered John Reeves from the New York Times that we had a little jingle.
Yes, we did.
And I had piles of the New York Times, and I noticed that the New York Times was really behind it. The New York Times is, and I don't know if it, and a lot of it, even though she says certain gays and lesbians, and they're on one side of the fence, a lot of gays and lesbians are on the other side of the fence too.
Sure.
They're not.
Sorry.
And they're the ones at the New York Times that have been pushing this idea. I've never seen anyone object to a guy with his male genitalia who's now a self-identified woman running in some sport in high school. By the way, there's a lot of very competitive people that they have to win. So if I cut off my balls, I'll win.
But John, hold on. It's not even that. It's just I'm a woman. I'm running. There's no cutoff of balls or anything that you're saying here. That's not true.
You don't even. Well, it's like that woman in Vancouver, BC, who's just a guy who likes to wear makeup and identify as a woman, who's been challenging the human rights boards.
And we have news. We have news about that particular case.
Yeah, she actually lost one case. How long has this been?
No. She it came before the tribunal. Canada has a tribunal for human rights abuses. And we're talking about, what was her name again? Jessica Yaniv.
Right.
And so she sued 7 different beauty, well, they weren't even clinics, as it turns out. These are mainly women who spoke English as a second language and did this work at home, which now that I know that tells me a bit about what kind of work this Yaniv was doing. So the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal found that Jessica Yaniv had been repeatedly deceptive, had sought to target small business for financial gain or to punish certain ethnic groups, which she perceives as hostile to the rights of LGBTQ people, and dismissed all 7 complaints and ordered Yaniv to pay each of the 7 respondents $2,000 each. Now, there's something positive, because this clearly was just a douchebag activist and who just wanted money, was targeting people with this. Like, you're Asian, you must hate trans people. I'm going to sue you. Come on.
It was working.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So this situation is out of control, and people are going to have to line up on one side or the other. I mean, and I'm reminded of, and I don't know if you could find the clip, but Elizabeth Warren, some little 9-year-old is up there talking about how a girl turned into a boy, talking about, and announcing it. And the proud mother was there.
I guess I have it.
And his mom, Mimi, who's an advocate for transgender youth and active with the Human Rights Campaign. Jacob is an elementary school student from Massachusetts, likes to play hockey. Jacob.
All right, Jacob.
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I'm a 9-year-old transgender American. My question is...
All right. Hold on.
What will you do in your first week as president to make sure that kids like me feel safer in schools? And what do you think schools need to do better to make sure that I don't have to worry about anything but my homework?
Oh, I like that question, Jacob.
Oh, yes. Mama Liz will take care of you.
So Elizabeth Warren is fawning all over this kid who's, 9 and is a transgender American, which is nothing that exists. But everyone got a big round of applause. Everybody in the audience, this Democrat audience, was applauding this little kid. They're on the side of the transgender movement at this level.
Well, can we?
Or they wouldn't be applauding. How come nobody was aghast by this?
Can we just agree on one thing? That it is not okay to use children for any of this in the media. Regardless of whether you think it's right or wrong, you should not be rolling out your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, barely your 18-year-old to be propagating this kind of stuff, because that is truly child abuse. The same goes for Greta Thunberg. Child abuse.
I'm not going to argue the point that it's child abuse. I'm just pointing out that if there are people who are going to take sides like the turf woman, on this issue, one side or the other, and it's going to unite the right and the left, it's sure not. I don't notice it when I see everyone applauding like crazy, and then watching Elizabeth Warren fawn all over this person.
Hold on. You do know you were watching a TV show, right? A scripted TV show with an audience, with applause sign. Not that you need it for this, but that's a TV show. I just don't think it's reality.
Take that to the next level, then,
please.
Then it's obviously the networks that are promoting this, which is even more dangerous than just a wild crowd.
Yes. In my opinion,
CNN is promoting this, and so they're the ones, and they push their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And so is their agenda the same as the New York Times, promoting abusing, mutilating kids?
Apparently.
Now, taking it back historically, yes, the Romans had their castratis, and they were great singers, and there was eunuchs in the Chinese courts. They had their genitals chopped off at a very young age, like they're doing to this kid James. So it's nothing new historically that we do this, but are we going to become a nation with eunuchs There was an interesting point made in this article that is talking about the court case, saying that apparently James has talked about, I'm going to see if I can find and just quote from it. Says James is talking about the kid, James, and your Texas kid. James is unaware of the long-term consequences of transgender transitioning. James has expressed an interest in having children. If subjected to medical interventions, James will be permanently sterilized at the age of 7. James would never be able to have children. I mean, this is the thing that's going on. Are we going to just say, okay, this is great?
Well,
or are we going to say, or was somebody going to stand up, and it's not going to be Elizabeth Warren and say, stop right there?
Well, John, okay. This is almost a logical outgrowth of 20 years of medicating young children. Once we would put them on Ritalin, and then we put them on Adderall, and then we put them on Vyvanse, and we just took it all. Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah, oh, Judd, you're just a little. He's overactive. Just got to calm that kid down. That's where the Ritalin comes in. Oh, he's got ADHD, which means he's not concentrating, because usually it's a boy. A lot of this is boys. And then the girls, depressed, the antidepressants, clonazepam, all this crazy stuff. You know, this is something that's on the surface in a few cases, but the abuse that children have been put through from big pharmaceutical, and this is, for me, another big pharma case, has been rampant for 2 decades. This is nothing new. In America specifically, we advertise these things. So this type of abuse is part of our system.
Currently,
yes.
Well,
you've really bummed me out, dude.
Satanism.
Let's talk about something actually very important that has, I think, much larger repercussions and is not being reported, except I have to say, the Kremlin-linked RT is at it again. John Pilger was on RT because he can't get on anywhere else. John Pilger is an award-winning journalist from the UK. I think he has multiple awards. Very famous.
He's a big shot. He's in the Seymour Hersh category, who also can't get on TV.
Exactly. There was a trial of Julian Assange. Julian Assange, who ran WikiLeaks, which you can like it or not, but he has not been charged with anything in the UK, as far as I know. But, of course, there's an extradition request to bring him to the United States.
Well, he was charged with skipping bail.
Skipping bail. John Pilger went to the hearing, which was not reported on that I could see, and he went on RT to report his experience.
Joining me is legendary journalist and filmmaker John Pilger, who was at Monday's magistrates' court hearing in Westminster. John, what happened in court?
It was one of the most searing events I don't like calling it an event, but it was an event. It was an atrocious event. In this courtroom, presided over by a judge. She's a mere magistrate, actually.
Magistrate Vanessa
elevated her to judge, in which she said imperiously to Julian Assange, "Have you anything to say?" And he stood. "Will you stand, Mr. Assange?" She was her dictatorial gestures to this sick man through the whole thing were just disgraceful. And he stood, and his lips moved, and nothing came out. And still nothing came out. And I strained to hear what he was saying. And he said, for 10 years, he said this very falteringly, for 10 years, the superpower has had all this time to prepare a case against me. I am denied the opportunity, and I paraphrase him now, I am denied the opportunity. I can't even have access to my writings, as he calls it. He means the documents.
His defense documents.
His defense documents. He can't see his defense documents. To say it is surreal is not enough. It is truly appalling.
You're saying the judge was biased in favor of the extradition attorney acting for the United States?
Yes. No, she was biased. All the judges have. The previous one, Lady Arbuthnot, whose husband, Lord Arbuthnot, was revealed in WikiLeaks cables to be up to his neck in the national security state and arms companies and so on and so forth. And she should have never been sitting on the bench. But this one, her bias was incandescent. I've sat in a number of courts all over the world. I've never seen anything like this. It belonged in a show trial in the 1950s, Moscow, Prague, you name it. And they called, this is London. Do they know what's happened to justice here?
Of course, Stalin's show trials were broadcast. What your
this wasn't broadcast. There's no reporting of this.
It didn't make Channel 4 News here.
No, it didn't make, nor the BBC.
It made headlines around the world, but not here in this country.
Deliberately excluded.
Yeah, it's really messed up. That's a sad day for journalism.
That is bad.
Yeah, it's really quite sad. To have an award-winning journalist of Pilger's stature, to be marginalized to even talk about it, relegated to the cable space of RT, if you got it, is about this particular topic is just it's the elite, full-on protection of elites.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, you should go to WikiLeaks and read up on some of the stuff they've been doing.
I actually should. I haven't been keeping up like I should.
Yeah.
Well, there's one other little thing that hasn't been reported much at all. Again, by the networks, they're more concerned about
Trump
and the bad Republicans. Those horrible. Putin's calling the shots.
We need to bring it back, man. We need to bring our Putin shout back.
Where you have it?
Yeah, of course I have. Of course I have it.
Let's catch up with Barcelona, where all hell's breaking loose and is continuing. This is like a lot of riots all over Europe. But the Barcelona thing is really, it's not understood well. It's not discussed. There was a breakaway movement, and then the Spanish government cracked down on it and brought him back back into line. But meanwhile, we got this going on. This is a longer clip than usual, but it's a complete Barcelona update.
Separatist protests have descended into running street battles and rioting in the Spanish region of Catalonia. That's after lengthy prison sentences were handed down to 9 separatist leaders for their role in a failed 2017 independence bid. Guy Hedgecoe is DW's Spain correspondent. Guy, tell us more about what's led up to this sentencing.
Well, these sentences, as you say, date back to October 2017, when the Catalan pro-independence government tried to lead a breakaway from Spain. They organised a referendum on independence against court orders and against the wishes of the Spanish government, and held that referendum. And then a few weeks after the referendum, the Catalan parliament declared independence from Spain unilaterally. Now, it was a very short-lived independence. Within a matter of hours, the Spanish government had introduced direct rule in the region. But nonetheless, the Supreme Court took these actions extremely seriously and charged several of the people that it felt were responsible for that failed bid for independence with serious charges, and the Supreme Court found 9 of them guilty of sedition on Monday, giving them those lengthy jail sentences.
How long are they?
Well, the longest jail sentence is for Oriol Junqueras, the former vice president of Catalonia, who received 13 years. That's for sedition and misuse of public funds. And then 8 of his colleagues received jail sentences of between 9 and 12 years. Now, those were colleagues of his in the Catalan government, also the Speaker of the Catalan Parliament at the time, and also 2 civic leaders, 2 pro-independence civic leaders who were involved in these events.
And Carles Puigdemont, who we remember as the separatist leader who fled to Belgium in 2017 to escape trial, he has been encouraging protesters to continue in what he's called on Twitter a democratic tsunami. I mean, are you seeing that happening on the streets?
Well, we certainly are seeing an enormous mobilization on the streets. Here in Barcelona, the last 3 days, there have been protests throughout much of the day, and then in the evening and the night, they intensify, and many instances have turned quite violent. This is something we haven't seen before with the independence movement, with people burning rubbish containers in the street, setting fires in the street, throwing rocks and rubble at riot police, clashing with riot police, and throwing Molotov cocktails in some cases.
Yeah, it's bloody. I mean, the people are getting their ass kicked severely, just beaten.
Yeah, beaten.
Isn't this part of the New World Order, the elites fighting against nationalism? Can we say that's fair, what Catalan wants?
I'm not sure. It's probably what it is, or fighting. Yes, yeah, it would be fighting against nationalism. But there's a little bit in there that I didn't clarify or didn't get clarified. It doesn't make any sense to me. Which is one of the guys escaped to Belgium.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, but why don't they just extradite him?
Belgium has no government. Belgium has nothing. It's got
the seat of the EU. The EU should have people that can just grab the guy and send him back to face the music. It doesn't make sense to me that you can go to Belgium and avoid being prosecuted. It just doesn't make sense. It's all within the same EU.
Yeah,
maybe somebody, one of our overseas listeners in the EU that knows something about what's going on with this guy, how this works, because I don't get it at all. But it's another thing that nobody.
Well, no, I mean, it's the American public is severely undernourished when it comes to actual worldly events, and a lot of these things do connect. I mean, when you see it, the farmers in the Netherlands, you got the yellow vests in Toulouse, not just in Paris, but everywhere now. There's all kinds of strife and unhappiness, and the people are sick and tired of the elites. They're just sick and tired of it. And tired. And we have the internet for as long as it lasts. Although I loved you retweeting your article from 15 years ago where you expertly laid out the case that the internet would bring nothing but exactly what we're seeing, which is ones, as you say, ones and zeros, left and right, Democrats, Republican, nationalists, globalists, whatever you want to call it, just going ape shit online and making things worse. There's no benefit to it.
And that article was written before any social networks appeared.
Yeah, we were still blogging and had RSS feeds. Woo!
Blogging. It was about bloggers.
I just on that, just on the social media, and then we need to take a break. But just on social media itself, Twitter came out with its numbers yesterday, which were weaker by advertising numbers. They only, what'd they do? They did $824 million in revenue, and I don't know if they're profitable yet. Wall Street expected $50 million more. Whatever. But what was interesting is now they call it the MDAU. They no longer report daily average users, but it's the monthly daily average users, which sounds like a Jedi math trick to me, but okay. How many daily users do you think there are on average in a month on Twitter that actually use? So they are using, it doesn't mean they're posting, but and I think a much smaller portion is posting, but they're using the platform globally every single, what's their monthly, I don't know what the hell that means.
Well, just give me a number.
Well, what do you think it is? How many?
I have no idea. I have...
Just
I can't even do a ballpark. I'll give you, I'd say on a daily basis, I'd say 100 million.
Yeah, but a monthly basis.
Well, on a monthly basis, it'd be 100 million times 30.
That's 145. But even if it were daily, 145 million worldwide. Yeah. So let's say if you just look at the numbers, I'd say
it's not as many as I'd think.
No, it's probably 60 million in the U.S., maybe. How many of those are then actually posting? Let's just cut it in half. This is a storm in a teacup if you look at scale. It's ridiculous. No one gives a shit.
They still can't handle scale, which is my assertion.
Yeah, something went wrong. I got that the other day. But then, so they're just irrelevant. They're really kind of irrelevant, except for this machine that rolled. Oh, someone said on Twitter, put it on the news. It's on the news. Put it back on Twitter. Get outraged. And all they're doing is generating that $850 million for Twitter. You're not changing anything. But then,
and if I was a newscaster, let's say on television, why am I doing this? Because it's just feeding the enemy. Twitter's the enemy of the TV news people. And TV's the enemy of the newspaper.
And Twitter can't even make it happen for themselves. I mean, that's. I think those are pretty pathetic numbers. If I can, I mean, look, $1 billion in revenue in a quarter is nothing to sneeze at, or shy of $1 billion. But come on, this is not that important, or as the millennials say, important.
Important.
And then Zuckerberg was being grilled.
Oh, yes. This was a joke. Do you have any clips from that?
Yeah, I got the AOC clip. Yeah.
Oh, I want the clips.
Yeah, Sandy Ocasio-Cortez somehow was trying to mix together some news stories. One would be that Ben Shapiro had dinner at Mark Zuckerberg's house. And, of course, Ben Shapiro then immediately was saying, oh, Facebook is good. I'm sure it was easy for him to fall into the wealth trap, and maybe there was something that he found out that he really liked. What possible? But now what does he work for? Is he the Daily? Who's the Daily Caller?
He's the Daily Caller.
All right, so. Just so you know,
he used to be at Breitbart. He had that woman. Remember this? The woman who trumped up the charges against Lewandowski. We watched it. We talked about it. We heard it.
Yes.
Oh, he hurt me.
Yes, my wrist.
And immediately Shapiro turns on Breitbart because they didn't support her phony claims. And and he says, oh, this is terrible. And then it turns out he has his own Breitbart he wanted to start up, the Daily Caller, which I will say he's done a good job of. I just think that the premise to start it and all the rest, instead of being honest about it and just doing it, using Breitbart as like a punching bag, I thought was despicable.
Well, I think you're very poorly informed because they have proven links to white supremacy.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Ben Shapiro is clearly a white supremacist.
Would I be able to run advertisements on Facebook targeting?
I should probably set it up. So what she's going after here is political ads that Facebook has said, like, we're not going to really do much with this. If you have a political ad, you can put it on. And then I think it was Elizabeth Warren who said, well, if I put this huge lie in my ad, will you still take it? And so I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But, we all know it's only Trump who lies. So, are you going to do that? Are you going to fact check all of these ads for accuracy?
Would I be able to run advertisements on Facebook targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal? I mean, if you're not fact checking political advertisements, I'm just trying to understand the bounds here. What's fair game?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I think
so. You don't know if I'll be able to do that.
I think probably.
Do you see a potential problem here with a complete lack of fact checking on political advertisements?
Well, Congresswoman, I think lying is bad, and I think if you were to run an ad that had a lie, that would be bad. That's different from it being for in our position the right thing to do to prevent your constituents or people in an election from seeing that you had lied.
So you won't take down lies, or you will take down lies? I think it's just a pretty simple yes or no.
Congresswoman, I'm
not talking about spin. I'm talking about actual disinformation.
In most cases, in a democracy, okay. I believe that people should be able to see for themselves what politicians that they may or may not vote for
are saying. Won't take
them
down.
Their character for themselves.
So you won't. You may flag that it's wrong, but you won't take it down.
Congresswoman, it depends on the context that it shows up. Organic post, ads.
Right.
The treatment is a little
One more question. In your ongoing dinner parties with far-right figures, some of who advance the conspiracy theory that white supremacy is a hoax, did you discuss so-called social media bias against conservatives, and do you believe there is a bias?
Congresswoman,
he's frying, by the way. His smoke is coming out of his ears at this point.
So I don't remember everything that was in the question.
That's all right. I'll move on. Can you explain why you've named the Daily Caller, a publication well documented with ties to white supremacists, as an official fact checker for Facebook?
Congresswoman, sure. We actually don't appoint the independent fact checkers. They go through an independent organization called the Independent Fact Checking Network that has a rigorous standard for who they allow to serve as a fact checker.
So you would say that white supremacist-tied publications meet a rigorous standard for fact-checking?
She's got a lot to learn if she's going to take this path and try and do this to people. That was fail for her. And the International Fact Check Network, which we followed very closely, a lot was written about it. And it's exactly what it is. It's an independent organization, which everybody, we need that. We all agree. And now she's saying, yeah, but you've got people who deny white supremacy in there. And she could have just said Jews, because that's what she means, Jews. I'm just saying it the way she's thinking it, because that's what she's talking about here. And when you have Shapiro with Zuckerberg, I think this was anti-Semitic, actually, what she was doing, without overtly stating it.
I wish Zuckerberg would have called her out. Zuckerberg needs to. I shouldn't be saying this, but I think Zuckerberg needs to play the Jew card.
Yeah, he should have right there. So what are you suggesting, ma'am?
Yeah, he could have played it right there and talked about Shapiro. Seems Jewish to me.
He could have turned it around and said, I don't know what you're talking about with white supremacy, but this is a Jewish trope, anti-Semitic trope, is what I should mean. And I think you're accusing me of that, of being in cahoots with other Jews, and you're an anti-Semite. F off. I think she is.
That would have been, I can't have any respect for this guy unless he pulls that stunt. He has to do it. He's being accused. They're badgering him. Pull the card. You got a card. Pull it.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have a few people to thank for show 1184.
Before we
1185 coming up, which would be the.
I was going to say, before we start, there was something that we used to mention that actually Tina brought it up, and because she had heard it the other day. We thanked all of the people under $50, which we always do,
which we need to do because we can't take anyone for granted.
And you know what she said? She said, "You Bart, you got to be crazy to not to be thanking these people much more than you're doing." I thought we were doing enough. She said, in her experience as a professional, now she's worked in the nonprofit world. She said, it is exactly those people who are the ones who are so dedicated that every dime they can muster up, $4 a month, $5 a month, they're so dedicated that they will actually invest in the program's future and they will put the show in their will. And we've talked about this before. This is not uncommon that people can consider doing this.
We have not pushed that idea.
We have in the past, years ago.
I don't remember it.
We talked about it. Yeah, we did.
I know KQED does it.
Yeah, of course the NPR station.
In fact, the NPR, give us your house while you're still living. We'll give you a reverse
mortgage. Hey, that sounds more agenda-like to me. Let's do that. Hey, once you give us your house, we'll give you a reverse mortgage. No worries. But what I mean to say is the people who typically don't get their name read, and I'm not talking about the people who want to be anonymous, are incredibly important to us. And you're just as much of the show. We just don't have enough show to actually thank everybody. But we really do appreciate it. And for these past 12 years, many of you have been there at monthly levels of $4 or $5. And it's appreciated. It's also your show. So thank you. And put us in your will.
We actually have people on the old legacy account that still come in every so often. I mean, it's like $5 a month.
Yes.
We had some even lower donations in that year that have been on since the beginning of our first show of donations.
Yep,
And it's on there. And some reason they've never been bounced off. They never changed their credit card. I don't know how it works, or they have a big PayPal account that comes out of there. And my
crypto man is Bitcoin owners. That's who's doing it.
My fear is that you say, and we want to thank someone that's been donating for the last 12 years.
Wait a minute. I've been donating.
Hey, Bill, did you know you were mentioned on the No Agenda? What? Oh, my God. I better pull that off the PayPal account.
Well, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I think we're pretty safe there.
Oleg, let's thank a few people for 1184.
Let's do that.
Oleg Nikini, what do you think? I don't know.
Nikini, I think so.
Happy birthday to us.
It even says, John, don't bother pronouncing my last name. You fail.
I fail all the time. Okay, well, that's good.
All right.
Dame Patricia Worthington's up there at the top with $121.20. These are all the 12 years not a slave. There's not that many, but we can get more because we have their official 12th year anniversary coming up on Saturday. I'm sorry, it's on Saturday. The show's on Sunday.
Yeah.
David Flynn in El Paso, Texas, $121.20. Daniel Walraven, $121.20. Brock Reinhold in BC, Canada, in some town I've never heard of. Osoyoyos. It's like spasm. Brock Reinhold. Anyway, Sean Newcomer, $121.20. Stephen Tomaser, $121.20. Baroness Karen of the Blue Moon in Colorado Springs. Happy Not a Slave anniversary. $21.20. Cardello Ciardello.
Yeah.
In Tulsa. $121.20. Ronald Maxidon. Okay.
Yeah.
$121.20.
Glad you thought it was
and last but not least on the short list is Dame J of the Angry Clouds. $121.20. John Coomer's in with $120. Sir Acid of the Scandinavian Woods is $120, which is it's a good one. It's a good 12 years times 10. Julia Honig, $100. Sir Daniel Baronet of the Bayonet in Boise, Idaho, $100.
He has an interesting question here. He says, my parents recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Sometime when I go to visit them, we'd like to go see the Grand Canyon. Are you still in touch with the No Agenda Knight who has a cabin? Wasn't he a ranger? Our No Agenda Knight near the Grand Canyon?
We have
ranger?
I don't know. We haven't heard from him for a while, but he is a No Agenda Knight in the Grand Canyon. He is a ranger, and I don't know that I don't think there's a cabin you can stay in. I don't think there's that.
No.
Guy in Alcatraz.
Yeah, I think they just want maybe some information. Oh, he says he offered his cabin near the canyon. Huh.
I don't remember this.
I vaguely remember it. Well, Sir Daniel,
we're putting the word out. If he still
listens
to the show, if he doesn't, he probably wouldn't be as amenable. Could you don't know, but we'll hear from him shortly. John at Dvorak.org. Sir Daniel Baronet of the Bayonet. Okay, that was next is Ian Field, $100, parts unknown. Kathy and Bob Appleby in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, $100. But there was a note that was sent in on a card.
Mm-hmm.
It's short. Nice card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read this note because they sent a little bottle of maple syrup.
Oh.
Very small, but it's from Pennsylvania.
Is it enough
which
for
I've
a
never
pancake?
had maple syrup from Pennsylvania, so I think that's got to be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not graded like the Vermont stuff, so it's obviously a small industry.
Small batch. Artisan.
Greetings from the Laurel Highlands of Pennsylvania. This time of year is abundant with local fall festivals, and we enjoy the time spent visiting the towns in our area. That's always fun. We visited the Bedford Festival recently and drive into the mountain passes through Shanksville and Flight 93 Memorial.
No.
Well, that's interesting. They have a memorial there.
Yes.
One of the vendors' booths stopped by, and there's little jugs of maple syrup. So there you are. A gift from Kathy to the both of you. Enjoy.
Oh, was it 2 bottles?
That was only 1 bottle.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm serious. You can ask Kathy. I'll put some in a jar for you.
No, you won't. Please don't.
Thank you for the hard work. Yes, I will.
No, don't.
Thank you for the hard work every week for bringing us the enjoyment and enlightenment of a world with confusing memes and erroneous information. Thank you for providing us with the best podcast in the universe. Nice card, nice bottle of juice. Did bring up the point, which I'm going to throw out there. Jay says, I'm talking about maple syrup, and she says, you can also tap a birch tree.
For syrup?
Yes. It's not as productive as a maple tree by any means, not even close. But there is birch tree juice that comes out, and it's used to make birch beer, which is like root beer, only it's made with this birch sap. The only place I know that does it is up in, I think Thomas Kemper maybe makes it up in Washington State. Very tasty. It tastes like, I'm wondering, as I was thinking out loud, whether or not anyone can get access to birch syrup for pancakes.
You know what we need? Birch syrup with sorghum pancakes. It's the breakfast of the poor. This is beautiful.
I don't know about the sorghum part. Sorghum has a syrup has an off taste.
Oh yeah, but you can. I was talking more about not making syrup, but using sorghum just to make the
sorghum
pancake.
For the pancake itself.
Yeah, like a grain, like a wheat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's doable. I do have some sorghum flour that I've used to make pancakes, and it's actually acceptable. Not in they could use a little more gluten. Onward. Sir Brian Kaufman in Scottsdale, Arizona, 75.75. Brian Fenton in Colorado Springs, 71.90.
He wants a shout out. Yep, No Agenda Local 719 meetup happening this Saturday, Phantom Canyon in Colorado Springs.
Sam Van Hoer in Leadersdorp.
Now this doesn't sound right. I think there might be an N missing. Sam van Horen, I think, but there's no the Dutch typically.
Horen.
And he's in Leiderdorp.
69.69. John Kendall, 58.85. Got a birthday coming up. Maxine Waters Gravel's back.
Hello.
55.55.
With a shout out to local.
And this, by the way, Dame Maxine Waters Gravel, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't she just get knighted?
Yeah, but I thought she was Sir Maxine Waters Gravel. Oh, no, I don't know. Now I'll have to go and look.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right. It might be Sir Gravel.
With a shout out to NA Local 8008 for a swell first meetup. Big thanks to Sir Mittens for organizing.
55.55 from Maxine Waters Gravel. Walter Hayficker. I'm sorry. I'm still on Maxine Waters' note. Maxine Waters Gravel. Someone please clip John's electrifying my balls audio from the last show. It's electrifying my balls.
Yeah, I got it. So don't worry.
Hey, I'm going to just stop talking.
Why?
I'm being insulted.
Please.
Stan Gumberg in Bloomington, Minnesota has got a birthday call at 53.69. John Mahala
I'm sorry, you're missing it. No, you're missing stuff now. You missed Walter Hafeker.
No, I didn't.
In Deutschland?
That's when you were laughing. You were chuckling.
And then you went from Stas to John. You missed Amanda.
I did. Now you're right there. Stas Gumberg and then Amanda Walklin. And that's what you're here for, by the way. Bloomberg, Minnesota has a birthday call. I did say that, 53.69. So I was talking about somebody.
Yeah.
John Mahala, pronounced Mahala, Columbia, Pennsylvania, $50.12.
Okay, he actually said, remember, this is what I'm here for. It's pronounced Mahala. There's an I.
Mahala, you're here for that. I've been douchebagging since show 1124. I think there's a de-douching in order here.
Well, we'll do it.
You've been de-douched.
Mahala. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, I am too. Otherwise, the show wouldn't even go out. Forrest Martin, 5005. Now we got the $50 donors to wrap things up, starting with Alexa Delgado in Aptos, California.
Yeah, I'd like to read this because this is a knighting. Back in 2017, I signed up for a monthly $50 donation and just let it ride. Now I'm a dame, and I didn't even realize it. I will now correct this by becoming Dame Ambrose. I would like to humbly request pineapple Dole Whip and beignets at the round table. Good that I'm reading this now, because even though that's what I'm here for, I hadn't ordered that.
Yeah. Get on with it.
What's your problem?
It's beignets, isn't it?
What did I say?
Beignets.
No, beignets. I'm glad you're here. That's what you're here for.
I am.
My smoking hot boyfriend Julian should be coming in night today as well. Remember, everyone, no agenda couples that listen together stay together. He can also get credit for hitting me in the mouth back in 2016. I want to thank both of you for everything that you do. I really do appreciate all the time and effort you put into the show twice a week on Sundays. Actually, it's Thursdays. The No Agenda show has helped me keep my amygdala small and has also given me the ability to see through the M5M's BS. Congratulations on 12 years. I hope we can get a few more out of you guys before you end up bailing out on an exit strategy, which apparently is reverse mortgages now. So, yes.
Hey, that's the big one.
That's the mother load. And I have your, and thank you for the pronunciation, your beignets and your beignets. I guess beignets? I think
that's what it is. It's beignets. A French donut without a hole.
Which is a holeless donut.
Yeah.
That's un-American.
Well, it's French.
Okay.
It's a freedom donut. All right. While you read that, I have to read this Sir Scott, who's also just wrote a note in because he's being knighted today as Sir Scott of Fort Lickerdale, which is something lewd, I think. After donating to the No Agenda show over the past 7 years at the $4 subscription level, I have surpassed knighthood. And there you have his name. Not sure if you read this on the air. I just read that. But he does want some jingles. We can put these at the end for him. He needs the jobs, karma, goat scream karma, and Hot Pockets. That's one we haven't played for a long time, and I think that'd be cool.
Okay.
Hot Pockets.
We want me to put that at the end? We want to just do it now while we're here.
Okay, do it. Nail it.
Hot Pockets.
Nailed it.
Okay, good.
You got all testy on me. I don't understand what I did wrong.
That's because you got mad at me.
Sarah
Jane Stevenson.
Got mad at you.
50, yeah.
When?
Will West, Peoria, Arizona, 50. Julian Robbins in Aptos, California. We have a lot of California.
Well, this is who Alexa was talking about. She mentioned Julian. This donation puts me over the $1,000 mark, makes me a knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. After I was hit in the mouth by my good friend Aaron about a decade ago, I became an occasional
people here.
Yeah, I became an occasional listener to the show. I've listened to the Seed Man since high school, so it was right up my alley. That's right.
Is that a compliment?
I think. Trump won the election, I was told. I sounded like a Nazi sympathizer by a coworker for reminding them that Nazis were socialists and became somewhat confused. Oh, boy. I had not listened to the No Agenda show or Seed Man, for that matter, for a few years. I figured I'd missed something during the time I was overboard, so I decided to catch up on news, politics, and culture and started listening to you guys again. I realized very quickly that failing to listen for a few years let me fall prey to a good amount of bullshit pushed by the M5M.
This is an absolute revelation to her, and it should be to everybody who listens to the show, because this happens. Eric was talking about this with me. He says that he's noticed kind of a fall off in certain kinds. Where's green eggs of ham guy, 73s? You know, there's a bunch of people that bail out because they think I can go it alone. I don't need to listen. It's too long, 6 hours. It's too much. I can't do it. So there you go.
So Julian, he said that he then hit his smoking hot girlfriend in the mouth, as a man should. And he reiterates, couples that listen together stay together. I've discovered that donating to the best podcast in the universe is the best thing you can do to maintain your sanity in clown world. Here's to 12 more years, not a slave. I would like to be... Okie dokie. Well, I would like to be knighted, kids, cover your ears, as Sir fucking white male and have mayonnaise and kale at the That's pretty white of you, sir. To have mayonnaise and kale ready at the round table. There you go. And I love this couple. They're great.
Glued as they might be.
Mayonnaise and kale and pineapple Dole Whip and beignets. Okay. Fantastic.
Daniel LaBoy in Bath, Michigan, 50. These are all $50 donors, name and location, if applicable. Mitchell Kaufman in Hillsboro, Oregon, wine country. Jesus Allen in Austin, Texas, 50. Sir Phil in North Lakes, Queensland, Australia. David Stewart, Sir Jimmer, 50. Sir Patrick Maycomb. Oh, that's it. Ends.
Oh, end of? Oh, okay. Wow.
And that was it. That's our group of well-wishers and producers for show 1184. I want to thank each and every one of them for helping us do this show. It wouldn't be possible without your contributions, and there's no way that we can expect you to just we're very thankful for you guys making the show possible, because there's nobody. It's the only thing we can do.
Well, yeah, without this show, there would be huge problems for me, certainly. I am unemployable.
Yeah, but you'd be a good house husband.
Jeez. I mean,
what? It's a compliment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate the compliment. Oh, brother. Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you for pre-celebrating our 12 years not a slave. We will do the full Monty on Sunday. And as I mentioned before, everybody under $50, thank you very much. You are just as appreciated, maybe even more sometimes, because people do this on a regular basis. They set up subscriptions. You can find out all about it at Dvorak.org/NA. Let's see. Now we had jobs. What else did we have people requesting? I forgot. Was it just jobs or some...
Well, see, we had the jobs. We had the Hot Pockets from...
I had Hot Pocket. Well, I'll just do some F Cancer.
Goat Scream. That's fine. We're good.
Okay.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
Well, we're almost there. We are almost celebrating our birthday. That'll be on the 26th. So on Sunday, we will celebrate largely. On the birthday calendar for today, John Kendall says happy birthday to his beautiful wife, Megan Kendall. She celebrated 3 days ago on the 21st. And today, Amanda Walkland says happy birthday to her husband, Jamie. He is celebrating his birthday today on October 24th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
That's such a great jingle. Sir Terry, Knight of Crowley's Ridge, as we heard earlier, today officially becomes Sir Destro on his way to his barony, and we thank him for his continued support of the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe, according to the Mueller Report. You can go ahead and look it up. Let's take a look at our, let's see, we think we have a quick meetup list. Did you hear, I'd forgotten about this. Meetups.com started charging people. We talked about it. They started charging.
You mentioned it. I said I couldn't confirm it.
Well, it's confirmed. And the reason they're doing that is they were purchased. Do you know who owns Meetups? Meetups.com? Meetup.com?
No, but I'm about to be sickened.
WeWork. Like, hey, man, we've got to keep the jet flying. Charge those Meetup fuckers some money.
No agenda. Oh, well, that's out of business.
Yeah. Well, so it's like a party, these No Agenda meetups. That's right. We don't charge. We've got a free place for you to go and find out about your meetups or go and create one your own. It's noagendameetups.com. And here's what's coming up today. Nashville, Tennessee. I think that might have been this morning. I don't know if that was the early morning meeting or the one tonight. Tomorrow, Portland, also Charlotte, North Carolina, and New Cumberland, Pennsylvania. On the 26th, Nashville, Tennessee, Colorado Springs, and Shanghai. October 27th, Plymouth, Michigan. November 1st, Seattle. November 2nd, Boston. Then there's the tri-state area, which they hope will include Pennsylvania. I think they're a part of it, but maybe it's just New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. November 7th, Newport Beach, California. Also Myrtle Beach. It's the Beach Meetups. November 8th, Nelson, British Columbia. And the 9th of November, North Charleston, South Carolina. Auburn, California. And Sarnia, Ontario. November 22nd in Den Haag in the Netherlands. That's where the government sits. And on the 24th in Utrecht. We have 2 separate meetups happening this month in
Is it
Holland.
Miniature World in Den Haag?
It's Madurodam. It's not far from there. That's where it should be done. They should have the meetup in Madurodam. Madurodam.
They should have the meetup at Miniature World.
It's Madurodam. And now on to our knightings and damings. We need your big blade today because we've got a list. We got 4 people here.
I have 3 blades to choose from. I will pull out the extremely large one.
I felt it. Vincent Lynch, Alexa Delgado, Julian Robbins, and Scott. All of you, please join us here up on the podium for your official induction into the No Agenda Roundtable of the Knights and the Dames. Thanks to your support in the amount of $1,000 or more, I am very proud to pronounce today the Knight of Dominie's Hook, Dame Ambrose, Sir Fucking White Male, and Sir Scott of Fort Lickerdale. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. Of course, we've got Pineapple Dole Whip and beignets, mayonnaise and kale, cookies and vodka, brisket barrel and aged copper. We got mutton and mead. We got ginger ale and gerbils, sparkling cider and escorts. And today we'll throw in as a special bong hit some bourbon. Now, if you want to complete your entire ceremony, you need to go to noagendanation.com/rings. So the 4 of you, head on over there now, fill in your information so Eric the Shield can send that out to you. It's you're sending it only to us. You're not posting it anywhere. But also your ring size for whatever digit you'd like to place it on, which includes a toe ring. We're all good with that. And when you do receive it with your signet ring with the sealing wax and the certificate, toot that out on noagendasocial.com. Or if you must, you can always put it on Twitter, so that small amount of people around the world can also enjoy it. But I think the real fun is at noagendasocial.com. That's what I would recommend. And thank you all once again for supporting the No Agenda Show.
I find toe rings to be kind of creepy.
Yeah, me too. But, the kids are doing it these days.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
What are the kids doing nowadays?
That's a good question. Now, man, we're over time today, but of course,
we got maybe, I don't know, what are we going to do? We got to do a couple more clips.
Do some clips, and then I just want to do a quick
OTG
let's
do some
update.
funny. I got some funny clips.
Okay.
This is the EU Parliament was meeting not in their normal place, but in Alsace or someplace else, and they were arguing about Brexit.
Really?
Somebody sent us both this clip.
What a surprise.
Yeah, they were arguing it. But I got some squabbles. There were some squabbles.
Mm-hmm.
And so then somebody had clipped this down. Sun. This is from the Sun newspaper in London.
Some of this was a couple weeks old, though.
Yeah, but it's still, the squabble's nice.
The squabble is fun, but it wasn't brand new. So I'm glad you.
No,
it
wasn't brand new, but it was a good squabble. And I have 2 clips. I got this long squabble where they go back and forth, and it's very well structured. And then Farage going off on somebody, which is optional.
Oh, well, let's do the long squabble.
Boris Johnson has lost his majority in Parliament. The European election results and every opinion poll show a majority for Remain. Once Britain has an extension, a cross-party majority in the House of Commons will eject Johnson from office. We would ask you for as long an extension as possible so that a new government will be able to hold a new referendum and the UK will find a solution.
I just want to ask my colleague from the United Kingdom, talking about how she thinks that our Prime Minister can't be trusted. Her party stood on a manifesto in 2017 of respecting the referendum result. Without any recourse to the general public, they have changed that to revoking Article 50 and stopping Brexit. Hypocrisy.
Thank you.
I think it's a statement, but perhaps there is a question there somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. In response to that, I would like to say that there is no clarity, and never was, about what type of leave was on the referendum. When we have a clarity about that, whichever type of leave is to be put to a second referendum, the people should have a choice. And in response to the revoke thing, that would be after a general election, and therefore after a clear vote to remain.
And there is a second question from Ms. Fox, Claire Fox. Do you accept? Excuse me, I'm not asking you if you accept. I'm asking the lady who would answer the question. So now that the lady will accept, you do have the floor for 30 seconds. And as you know, I'm very strict on 30 seconds. Thank you.
If you are so confident in your politics,
Why don't you let us have a general election? Why do you, the Lib Dems, refuse and vote against ordinary voters in the country going to the polls? You've said you won't let them do it until you've taken something off the table that you decided on their behalf, anti-democratically. You are neither liberal nor democratic, and you say you're ashamed of the Parliament. I'm ashamed that you're a British MEP.
And that's
my final
not a question, but it's a
It was a question.
Actually,
is she ashamed?
Well, I'll allow you answer that, because I dare say you'll have a good answer.
I'm very ashamed of some of the things that have been put out recently by Leave.eu. On the point of our Parliament, I think our Parliament is well overdue for a general election, but to remove the UK from to crash out during the course of that election, when there seems to be a majority in the UK for Remain, would be an appalling travesty of democracy. So we must secure the extension before we have the election, and then bring it on, and we will win far more MPs, and always have done, than the Brexit Party.
Man, they're so lucky this is not happening in America. Now, people would be outside the all parliaments in the EU too with their guns. Shut up, you morons.
Well, I just wanted to play that clip because it does bring to the fore pretty much every issue that's on the floor.
Yeah, all of them.
They want to do a general election, but they don't want to do a general election. They want to crash out, but they don't want to crash. And then this nonsense that people voted to leave, but they never voted for the mechanism.
Yeah, we have to have a vote about how we leave.
Yeah, that was nonsense.
There was never, the way I recall it, it was leave or not leave.
Yeah, it was just leave.
And
I actually didn't know about I didn't know about any of the details about 50 or having a
No, there didn't have to be any deal. There was no deal.
Yeah, I thought it was just get out.
Crash out.
Or crash out is like the way they like to put it now with the propaganda.
Well, we should just use another term like bailout, eject.
Pop out.
Ooh.
Ooze out.
Ooh. That's what they're doing basically. This exit is a ooze out. That's kind of disgusting when I think of that in context of Boris Johnson.
Well, you want to play the Farage clip? It's just short.
Okay.
We are not dealing with people acting in good faith. Yes, that means you, Mr. Barnier. You're not looking for solutions. You're looking to put obstacles in our way. You may have conned a very weak and gullible Mrs. May into signing up into a new treaty from which there was no escape, but you're not conning us. We don't want your treaty in any form, even with Mr. Johnson's proposed amendments. The referendum was very clear. We voted to leave the institutions of the European Union and to be free. And you know, we've had enough of being talked down to by you, insulted by Messrs. Tusk and indeed Juncker, and we will never accept a German Chancellor attempting to annex a part of our nation. We simply won't have it. The good news is your wretched treaty is off the table, support for a clean break Brexit is growing, and it will be the winning ticket at the next general election.
So the troll rooms are helping. Pop out, chip in. The EU pull out, Ejexit. I like that one.
Ooh,
Ejexit. That's a good one.
I like it. Like Ejexit. In fact, I think that's a show title.
I think you're right.
Ejexit.
Ejexit. Well,
how about it?
Yeah,
Ejexit.
Oh no, I think that may be taking it too far. Remind me, I have an exit strategy to discuss on Sunday's show.
Ooh.
It's viable. It's viable. And does not include reverse mortgages.
Which is the clear winner.
Which is clearly the way to go. Coming up next on NoAgendaStream.com, where you can hear the show. You're hearing it right now, possibly there. That Larry show where Larry finds his spirit animal. End of show mixes Sir Chris Wilson, Jesse Coy Nelson, and Secret Agent Paul. And happy birthday, No Agenda Nation. Every single one of you who is a producer is a part of this celebration. So raise a glass on Saturday and join us for the hangover on Sunday. No, actually, it'll be a big a big celebration. And I thank you, John. I'm very excited about us making it to 12 years.
12.
And we never had a fight.
Nah, never a slave.
Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region number 6, and all the governmental maps. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm noticing issues with Amtrak today, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. 12 years, not a slave. Adios, mofos! And such. Yeah, Phil Collins. We all know Phil. Phil hates me.
He hates you.
Yeah. There was a period in the 80s where we would always be bumping into each other. I'd have to interview him if it wasn't, at Wembley Stadium for some kind of, one of those benefit shows. He would be in my studio. And then at a certain point, he'd just say, "Oh, Curry, too tall, too much hair, I hate you." And he would walk away.
Huh.
Yeah.
It was loving. I
think it was love, a form of love.
Yeah.
It was in the air tonight.
I can feel it, something with my hair and hide. Hold on, hold on.
Oh yes, the whole night. I don't know why that's funny.
I was looking at the news last Friday night when I read a story that just wasn't right. Hillary Clinton was battling Russian asset lies when suddenly, to my surprise, it was a Tulsi mash.
A Tulsi mash.
Hillary went down really fast.
It was a crash.
Hillary had a crash.
Crash.
From a Tulsi mash.
Being the world's police and waging these regime change wars, which is really the legacy of Hillary Clinton.
We came, we saw, he died.
This is despicable on so many levels.
It was a Tulsi mash.
A Tulsi mash.
Hillary went down really fast.
It was a crash.
Hillary had a crash.
Crash.
From a Tulsi mash.
The Clinton Foundation, through U.S. taxpayers' money and people giving money worldwide to the Clinton Foundation for relief effort to Haiti, contributed about $14.3 billion. We're talking about $1 billion. And the Haitian people has not seen not even 2% of that money.
What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again.
And what did she, Hillary, say to the president?
Well, she asked for a private meeting with the president, knowing that many of these leaks came from the White House. He pretended like he didn't even know what she was talking about. And finally, she blew up and said, "What I want you to do is call up your effing dogs, Barack."
These warmongering policies that she has championed throughout her career.
It was a Tulsi mash.
A Tulsi mash.
And Hillary went down in a crash.
It was a crash.
He really crashed.
Crash.
In a Tulsi mash. From up on her broomstick, Hillary's voice did ring. Seems she was troubled by just one thing. She swooped down from the air and she shook her fist and said,
"Whatever happened to my surprise 2020 presidential bid?"
This is the No Agenda Show with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak, brought to you by the Value for Value model. Don't be a douchebag.
If you're blue and you don't know where there's fake news, why don't you get your Gitmo fix? Putin on the Ritz, dressed up like $1 million trooper, trying not to look like Anderson Cooper. Super pooper, come let's mix where John Podesta walks with kids. Oh, I mean pizzas in his mitts. Putin on the Ritz.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle and the Third Reich.